in Tallahassee. They're down by 2 right now against Toledo. Spencer Petras, they're going to have to, that offense has to step up here on the road.
Yeah, definitely. Run the football, play action pass, and try to hit the Cyclones over the top.
Just over. Bob, thank you so much. That's a great sign for the Iowa State offense. Charlie Kolar on the field, the tight end, ready to go in warm-ups. The Cyhawk game coming your way. Just over 12 minutes away from kickoff. Highlights ahead.
It's one of the great rivalries in all of college football.
Whoever wins gets bragging rights for 365 days a year.
It is like the Super Bowl of Iowa.
It's the biggest thing in the state of Iowa.
Resuming a rivalry.
Iowa and Iowa State shouldn't play because of general antagonism.
So much bad blood. White's got the corner. Touchdown! Iowa State wins! Touchdown! Iowa wins! What a comeback!
We welcome you to ESPN College Football on ABC, presented by Arby's. And it is the Dr. Pepper Championship Drive game of the week, and the only game this week in college football matching top 10 opponents. It's an in-state battle for supremacy in the state of Iowa, as Iowa State has filled Jack Trice Stadium, and the Iowa Hawkeyes come in riding a 5-game winning streak against their cross-state rivals, Reese Davis and Kirk Herbstreit here. And really, as good as Iowa State has been, this is one of the hurdles that they have to find a way to clear.
Yeah, it's been, Matt Campbell's done so many great things here in Ames, but he's yet to beat Kirk Ferentz and the Hawks. Yet they're coming off their best year last year in school history. 20 of these starters back this year, including the quarterback Brock Purdy. This team feels that they have what it takes, not just to beat Iowa, but to have a magical year. But you're right, it's got to happen today.
That is one of the great young coaches in the game, the great coaches, period. Matt Campbell has built this program at Iowa State. They have commandeered the Hawkeyes black. They're wearing their big game black jerseys as they take the walk into the tunnel to come out here to try to exercise what has been a demon, one of frustration, things that have gone against them in the waning moments and cost them the opportunity to take down Iowa. If they can do that, next step would be contending for a Big 12 championship, which they've already done, played the Big 12 championship game a year ago. We will is the mantra that they follow, and they have.
Love this, taking this in before these teams get together.
You can feel the intensity of the fans in the student section just when they came out for warm-ups a couple hours ago. The cyclone warnings are out, and here comes Iowa State. Much to the delight of the fans here at Jack Trice Stadium, it is a warm, hot day in Ames, and that is perfect for a rivalry that is red hot and intense. Iowa and Iowa State battle for the Cyhawk when you come back.
You're watching the Dr. Pepper Championship Drive Game of the Week.
There's a sincere intensity and an energy that comes with this game.
We have two teams that are ranked, and it's always been a big game in this state.
Out here, it's the Cyclones or the Hawkeyes. I don't think a lot of pleasant things about them.
Yes, sir! Touchdown, Iowa! Leaping catch! What a throw by Purdy!
You're watching a presentation of the Big 12 on ESPN. Last 5 games in this rivalry owned by the Hawkeyes. Iowa State been outscored nearly 30-16, and they've really controlled the running game, Curtis.
Controlled the running game, and I think the bottom line, the turnover margin, that's been the key in this game.
You know, Iowa hasn't turned the ball over against Iowa State since 2015. Kirk Ferentz, the dean of coaches in college football, has built his program on not making mistakes. Let's go down to the field and check in with Holly Rowe.
Guys, Coach Campbell wanted to say hi to this little kid that was part of their coin toss. Coach, this is a game of rivalry. What have you said to your team about having composure and executing in this moment?
Yeah, you know, we played in a lot of big games. Calm, clarity, and the ability to do the little things right. That's what it's going to take. So what a great challenge for us.
Brock Purdy is a little bit gunslinger. How can he be that today, but also be careful not turning it over?
Yeah, you know, I think he's just got to play his game. I think he's grown so much over the last couple of years. We got so much confidence in him, and he's got confidence in himself, too.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Matt, Holly, thank you. Side of the Cyclone has him wound up. Have a look. This is Herb Street weather right here. 93, feels like triple digits, unseasonably hot.
Feels like 100. Of course, tomorrow it's a high of 72, so it's good.
Well, they ordered this up just for you.
Fourth quarter could be an interesting thing to watch in this game. Both these teams pride themselves on conditioning.
That is one of the things that Campbell talked about, particularly as you look at Purdy. One of the things they worked hard on in the offseason, not that they weren't in shape, but to elevate it, to be able to maximize their performance. Iowa will get it first. Charlie Jones and Ivory Kelly Martin will be deep. And the transfer from Fordham, Andrew Mevis, who is the longer kicker for Iowa State, handled the long field goals and the kickoffs. He's a senior from Warsaw, Indiana. First time these two have met as ranked opponents, and they're underway. Charlie Jones over the 25 and knocked down as he gets about to the 28-yard line, and it'll be Iowa coming out on offense first, and their quarterback Spencer Petras.
Yeah, you look at his size, 6'5", 233 pounds. Was the quarterback all last year, gained valuable experience, comes in this year as a junior, more seasoned, which could pay off for him in this battle on the road. He's never really tasted this rivalry as a starter. I want to try to settle him in early. Obviously, Iowa wants to run the ball and set up play action. I think today, early down play action pass could be big for the Hawks.
Tyler Goodson is the running back, had a 56-yard touchdown against Indiana last week. Goodson slips a tackle in the backfield, picks up maybe one. Isheem Young among those on the stop as you look at the starting lineup for the Iowa offense.
You know, these receivers are going to have to emerge. It's very tough to move the ball and sustain drives against both these defenses. Iowa State plays this 3-3-5 stack, and you're breaking in a new group of receivers and difference makers. We always think of tight ends and running backs and offensive linemen. Today we're going to have to see receivers help out.
Keep your eye in the middle of that Iowa offensive line. Tyler Linderbaum, perhaps the best center in the country. Petras' first throw is complete to Tyrone Tracy. Tracy is about 3 yards short of the first down as you look at that 3-3-5 stack from Iowa State.
Yeah, 9 will be a guy to keep an eye on up front. Will McDonald, he was led the Big 12 in sacks with 10.5. This group right here, Mike Rose leads them. He's an All-American 23, but all three of these guys will be all over the field defending the run. And then on the back end, they're tremendous. Tremendous experience. Greg Eisworth has been around. This is his 34th start. And Young, number 1, he'll be very, very active against the run and play action.
They need 3. Petras hits wide. He was looking for the tight end, Sam Laporta, and it'll be 3 and punt on the opening possession for Iowa.
Yeah, when you're at home in a rivalry game, it's exactly what you want to see from your defense. Get the crowd, make them believe that today's going to be a tough day for the opponent and for that quarterback on the other side.
So Torrey Taylor, who's on the Ray Guy watch list, he was the Big Ten punter of the year last year, sophomore from Melbourne, Australia. Never seen an American football game until he punted in one last year. And Tariq Milton, the wide receiver, is also the punt returner for the Cyclones. And he did a good job of deking the Iowa punt team, but a beautiful punt from Taylor is down to inside the 10, and the officials will mark it right at the 7-yard line, and that's where the Cyclones will have it for the first time today. And their veteran signal caller, Brock Purdy.
Boy, Brock Purdy is an elite quarterback in the country. Experienced guy, 35th start today. can see he's 6'1", 220, but what I love about him is he's just a gamer. He's just a gym rat type of quarterback, can make throws, can create, can use his legs to be able to be involved in the run game. Today it's about not turning the ball over, playing with tremendous poise as the Hawks will be loaded up to stop this run game.
Now, Breece Hall, who's the running back, led the nation in rushing with over 1,500 yards. But remember, these two didn't play last year because Iowa played only a Big Ten schedule. So Hall in his career, 1 carry for no yards against Iowa. Here's his second career carry against their arch rival. And he goes positive yardage, but just barely, as you have a look at this Iowa State offense.
You know, if you're a fan of these teams that can score in 2 plays, 3 plays, you and I did Ole Miss on Monday night. It was like we couldn't get a word in. This is at the other end of the other end as far as extremes of offenses. They're going to take their time, be more methodical. They want to win the line of scrimmage and kind of just work the ball down the field without making mistakes, which again is tough to do against Iowa, who doesn't give up big plays.
Purdy protected well, has it batted down. That is big John Wagner, who made his first start last week against Indiana, putting Iowa State to 3rd and long on their opening possession.
Yeah, I would say that Phil Parker and this Iowa defense are about as consistent of a brand as you'll see in the country. And one of the more underrated defensive coordinators. He's breaking in 3 new defensive linemen. You saw one of them there in Wagner making that play. Jack Campbell leads a very talented group of backers.
And that secondary returns intact, including Riley Moss, who might be the best pro prospect and had a couple of pick sixes.
How about that?
Against Indiana last week. He picked off 8 passes in his career and taken 3 of them back to the house. On 3rd down, Purdy lost it over the top. Can't make the connection. He was out there looking for the freshman Jalen Noel, and each team has it. Each team punts after 3 plays.
That's deep in the pocket, right hash to the left boundary, a long throw. See, I was going to say, hey, if you can execute that, Brock Purdy, you can make that throw, we'll give it to you. But that is a long throw on 3rd down with pressure in his face.
So Charlie Jones of Iowa standing just right at his own 40-yard line, and it'll be Corey Dunn wearing number 0. Now get out of this quickly. Corey was in a pretty tight punt formation, but he unleashed a good one, driving Parker back to his 35. And Jones works his way up to about the 39-yard line. Couple of excellent punts, a 58-yarder one way, 56-yarder going back the other way. Hawkeyes have it for the 2nd time when you come back. Here's a view from the AT&T 5G Skycam, Jack Trice Stadium, Ames, Iowa. College game day here this morning. Man, what a great crowd we had for the show to get ready for this. And
unreal.
These 2 teams meeting for the first time. Kirk is ranked opponents. They're in the top 10. Sort of the salad days of football for Iowa State. Now look at this. This is a Wildcat look. This is something that Kirk Ferentz went to a little bit last year with Brian Ferentz, the son offensive coordinator. That's not necessarily their cup of tea, but they've used it some last year or so.
No, but right away, you see these backers. Watch how quick they react. They see Goodson back there, no threat at all of a pass game, and they just lock in. This 3-3-5, this stack, the reason they built this way is to be able to free the backers and the safeties up. They have a lot of speed on the field because they play in the Big 12. They face a lot of spreads, but it's versatile enough to go against the defense or offense like this from Iowa.
He's just back at quarterback, and that was ricocheting around all over the place looking for Tyler Goodson. Peters sort of threw a fastball in.
Yeah, and Goodson was waiting to clear it. You know, Goodson coming across, he's expecting to get the ball here. Instead, right away, Peters tries to throw it to him there. Goodson's like, whoa, 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 wait till I get clear and through the backers. He was surprised as anybody. Ball hit him in the chest.
Well, Mike Rose got a hand or a foot on it. Greg Eisworth almost went right to him.
A lot of traffic in there.
I was probably lucky they didn't have their first turnover against the Cyclones since 2015. Petras breaks the pocket, closes quickly, and he'll be stopped short of the 1st down. Jake Hummel a little bit slow to get up. He was in there to stop it.
What's great about this defense is you can blitz the backers, right? But then look back in the back, you still have eyes on the football. Look right here. It's not an all-out blitz where you're just pinning your ears back and you're hoping to get home. And if not, he scrambles and gets out, you got trouble. They still have eyes on the ball, and the safety that time, Eisworth, just sitting there waiting, is able to chase Petrus out. So it's an aggressive defense, but at the same time, there's enough bodies back there with eyes on the ball that allows you to do that.
Taylor taking his time. 58 last time. Milton going to try to get over and fair catch it once again. He pens the Cyclones deep. Oh, we've got another big one coming up tonight in the Big House. Washington had a very disappointing start against Montana. Michigan looked good. See how the Huskies bounce back. Another Pac-12 Big Ten battle, 8 o'clock Eastern time. Saturday Night Football presented by Capital One. 8 o'clock after our game. You can catch it streaming live on the app. Pac-12's made some noise already today in Columbus.
No doubt. It was a big win for Oregon. This game just, again, kind of what you expected. Feeling each other out. Field position kind of game. Nobody wants to make the mistake, right? They're just kind of easing into it.
Hall slips the initial wave. Breece Hall, that is a terrific open field tackle by the safety, Jack Turner.
Well, these backers are trying to get play side. They're in a hurry to get here. Hall, this play is designed, but he senses that, feels that, and feels the grasp to the backside. So you've got to be gap sound when you take on a back like Breece Hall, because with his eyes and patience, he's going to find that crease, even on the backside there.
Pickup of 7 for Hall. Back to the ground. Breece, the initial first down of the game as Breece Hall pushes it up to about the 17, maybe the 18-yard line.
Yeah, it's a game of every first down is going to matter. You're moving a chains. You're trying to flip the field. And the thing that really stands out with Breece Hall, we've seen it on back-to-back plays, is for a big back that's known for his power, he has tremendous patience, waits for it, doesn't rush, and then has acceleration to be able to get through that hole.
So now it's a miscommunication. Purdy wasn't ready for the snap, and Colin Newell sent it back his way, and Breece Hall was there to save them from disaster.
Wow.
There is a flag down on the play.
Ball start. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Repeat, first down.
That is a very fortuitous turn of events for Iowa State.
Yeah, you had everybody wasn't settled. You had a Jared Russ who was kind of moving out to the outside. He didn't even get a chance to get set, and the ball snapped. Purdy wasn't ready for it. I think Newell just jumped the gun there.
Well, 1st and 15, and it saves them 8 or 9 yards of field position for sure, based on where Hall initially recovered what looked to be the fumble on the snap. Now everything's taken care of, and Iowa is there to shut the door on Hall.
Phil Parker, the defensive coordinator, he has been here for a number of years. 21st year on the staff. Took over for Norm Parker, who retired and became the DC, and just has done a really good job over the last 6 or 7 years. You could put this Iowa defense up there as far as the numbers are concerned with some of the best defenses in the country. They're not going to wow you with guys who are going to go to the NFL or the Combine. They have plenty there, but it's just the scheme. They keep everything in front of you, and they make you earn it.
2nd down and 14. Completion is to Darren Wilson. They keep everything in front. And to your point, they've got the longest active streak in America. 23 consecutive games in which they haven't allowed their opponents to score more than 24 points. It's almost unheard of.
It really is. It really, and it's a combination. They play complementary football, you know, and they do a good job of running the ball. They do a good job of possessing the football. Their defense doesn't face 75 and 80 snaps. But at the same time, they have a great defensive line. They've got linebackers and safeties that play hard every single year. It's just the same kind of defense, the DNA of it every year.
Tyrell Brockton at running back. Purdy buys himself a little bit of time, and the ball is knocked down. John Wagner's had a couple of really big plays in this first quarter here for the Iowa defense.
Yeah, the interesting decision here to, usually you're going to rush the front. Watch what he does. He shows rush. Actually, it's right here. right here. He was on the inside. Instead of coming upfield, he just kind of sat back, spied, and then got his eyes on the quarterback. And Purdy only 6'1". When he's in the pocket, he's susceptible to that ball being knocked down.
Another punt coming up for Iowa State. They got 1 first down. See if Iowa is able to take advantage of what figures to be pretty good field position. Charlie Jones has a crease. He's into Cyclone territory, and he is sent rear end over tea kettle after that low kind of a hang time of just over 3 seconds, and Jones made him pay for it. And really, the field position battle is moving toward Iowa. We'll see if they can take advantage. Stark Performance Center, Iowa State, pouring money into the program. Part of the things that come along with a little bit of winning, which Matt Campbell's certainly done, Holly.
Well, guys, the first shots across the bow that I saw fired this week in this rivalry matchup were from Tyler Goodson of Iowa, and it caught my attention because he said, you know, Iowa State can worry about game day and everything that will entail, but this is their Super Bowl, meaning this game means more to them than it means to us. And in some part, he's right. For Iowa State to accomplish what they want to nationally, they have to win this game. But win or lose, they could still have a Big 12 championship in their sights, but those were the first words.
Now Goodson trying to let his actions do a little backing up, and I think that's fair to say that Iowa State, you have to beat your rival from time to time if you're going to stay on the national stage, and I was trying to put it down.
You don't say that publicly, though. You kind of keep that in the locker room. I wouldn't recommend saying that publicly. To your point about field position, which we knew would be huge in this game, Iowa with field position, own 27, own 39, and now starting at the Iowa State 41, the Clones have been at their own 8 and their own 6. It's going to be that kind of game.
Just underneath, the flag flies in. He threw it to Goodson underneath. This time gave him a little room, took a little off. But Will McDonald was back there applying some pressure. Yeah, he did.
Give me a chance now.
Referee John O'Neill from the Big Ten running the show today.
Holding. Defense number 19. 10 yards from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
That is Kimani King, a junior from Newport Richey, Florida, who got his first start against Northern Iowa last week.
It looked like Charlie Jones wanted to give him a little shake and go to the right there. He's trying to just give him a little move and go by him, and it actually worked. He had to hold on there or he was going to go by, and I think the check down that time was to Goodson, but I think he wanted to take a peek at that, so really the only thing left was for him to hold on. Good route that time by Charlie Jones.
Jones is the guy that Brian Ferentz, the offensive coordinator, told us they would use today to try to stretch the field. So now the 30. Peaker's going to try it again. Got a guy out there, but there's a little traffic, and he was looking for Tyrone Tracy. Eisworth might have gotten a hand on it.
You know, you go play action on 1st and 10. It catches the eyes of the linebackers, but still, you've got to be able to make this thing happen on the back end. I'll tell you, the guy that is really impressive is Aisheem Young, 1. He's known to get up and support. Look how quickly he gets back, anticipating that they might be trying to make a throw. Both he and Eisworth back in position, not biting at all on the play action on 1st and 10.
Ivory Kelly Martin now the running back. They'll go to him. Kelly Martin, like he might have had a crease for just a second, but that closed up quickly as Datrone Young was there for the sure tackle.
You know, looking at last week's game against Northern Iowa, one of the areas that Northern Iowa had some success, which was getting the ball on the perimeter, sealing the edge and bouncing some carries to the outside. And when I looked at that, I thought, man, here comes Iowa with that outside stretch play. You know, John Haycock and this group really worked hard on getting up, setting that edge, and making sure you're ready to go with that outside run game.
Features in trouble. McDonald's got him, and down he goes.
Remember, he led the Big 12 last year in sacks, and he's got great speed. If you can rush 3 and get off the edge and work and eventually get around Jack Plum, who's 6'7", 300 pounds. He just does this with speed and get off. That first initial step allowed him to get around the corner, and eventually rushing three, they get to the quarterback.
Well, after the great field position, Caleb Shudak will try to save it with a 50-yard field goal attempt. And there was a little bit of trouble with the snap and the hold, and it is no good, and the Cyclone defense stands tall.
Boy, he was lucky to get that ball back down. Took everything he had, and you know, that affects the timing for the kicker. When that ball goes up, they never had a chance there. Cyclones make the stop.
Iowa State's not an easy place to win, but Matt Campbell's done so. First coach in school history with 4 straight winning seasons.
I think trust in college football is one of those areas that it's easy to sit here and say that. It's easy to talk about those things. I think it's really hard to find those things. And, you know, in football, especially at the college level, and trust runs from player to player, player to coach to coach, and really from coach back to the player. And if you can create that, if you can find that value system within a program, then great things can happen. And, you know, I think we've been able to create that and work really hard to try to sustain that.
They have a 3-time Big 12 Coach of the Year, and this is just his 6th season. Purdy's through the completion to Rush, got the 9 yards on first down, and now they pick up a first down on the ground going back to Breece Hall.
You sit around and speak with Matt Campbell, you can see how he can recruit. He finds people that fit his program. He's got continuity on his coaching staff. People that have come from with him, many of them from Toledo to Ames, and they know the type of players. You better love football if you're going to come play here for the Cyclones. That's one of the first things he talks about of importance, because of they don't have 5-star guys all over this roster. They do it the little things right, and it adds up to big things.
And Brock Purdy finally with a little room to operate. And Breece Hall catches it. He's knocked down immediately by Justin Jacobs. Now, Matt Campbell is on that short list of the big-time athletic directors keeping the drawer all the time. Also, the NFL has been sniffing around, and why not? Because this is a remarkable foundation and consistency that he's been able to put together in his first 5 seasons, now in his 6th year.
What's remarkable is we always follow, people talk about recruiting in Alabama and Ohio State and Clemson. You come here and they're all 2-stars and 3-stars, and yet they're a top 10 program. That's what he's built here.
On 2nd down and 8, direct snap. This is to Jyrel Brock. Brock's got a first down, and they're moving into Hawkeye territory.
A really good job of blocking here and just giving him a chance to get to the outside. Look at Brock. Nobody really there to set the edge. They get to the outside. Van Valkenburg, they're just not able to get outside. See 97, a couple good blocks there. 11, Allen doing a nice job. You get them to that second level. All of a sudden, Iowa State putting together a nice drive here. And you mentioned they're not starting at their own 6 or 8 yard line. They start at their own 32.
Now at the Hawkeye 35. Here's Purdy. Purdy complete to Xavier Hutchinson, and Hutchinson slips down the left sideline. The whip on the tackle from Riley Moss. That's a rarity. The Cyclones move the chains again.
And they got a little rhythm going right now, and he felt the corner sitting back, and he just got underneath that. And you said, not only makes the catch, but stays in bounds and picks up that first down. It was a 1st and 10 throw. We've been seeing a lot of runs for both teams on 1st and 10, and time soft coverage, he's able to get that throw out there quick.
Milton came in motion. Now it's Purdy who kept it. Brock Purdy, a nifty runner, and he gets down to the 16-yard line before Kerner's there to stop him.
And you just start to forget about him, right? You get so caught up in what Breece Hall can do, and what Brock can do. Watch the defense. They start to run with Breece Hall. It's exactly what you want, and Tom Manning, sensing that as a play caller, he and Matt Campbell say this is the time to just sprinkle in. Just remind them that Purdy's capable of running the ball, especially down in this red zone area.
We saw a good bit of that when Brock took over this job as a freshman. Now they sprinkle it in, using it to keep defenses honest, and it's a good pickup of 8 on first down. Now they'll go back to Hall, and he's got another first down, and the Cyclones do have a rhythm going against this tough Iowa D.
And I just love his patience. Love how he waits. He knows that he's got a couple linemen coming around. Watch the linemen. Because of these guys polling, he's got to wait, put the foot in the ground right there and get north and south. That's just a feel, and some backs just naturally have that, and we've seen Breece Hall be that kind of back here in this offense over the last couple of years.
Now first down from the 11 for Purdy. And back to the ground, Hall. It's inside the 10 before he's greeted rudely. Y.A. Black is in there, first guy among many.
The other thing we're seeing on this drive is the offensive line asserting themselves. A combination of play calling with the offensive line doing a very good job of getting a surge and giving Breece Hall room to work.
4 of the 5 guys that they're playing primarily have been in the program at least 4 years. Remember, Charlie Kohler didn't play last week against Northern Iowa. He's in the game, number 88. Are they looking for him? Purdy spins around and now is going to chuck it away. Joe Skates was close, but that's an example of Brock living to play another day.
Yeah, and you know what? They're very forthcoming on saying, you know, when he's had trouble, he's had some issues trying to feel like he has to make a play, especially early in his career when he didn't have the talent around him that he has now. So when he has a little bit of a setback, it's forcing a throw there. They thought last week things didn't always go great, but he played with poise, made good decisions, didn't force the issue. And that's another example of it right there. Live for the next down instead of trying to make a play.
No one's converted on third down yet. This would be an opportune time, mind of the Cyclone fans, to slant Hutchinson and nothing doing. It's going to be fourth down. Excellent coverage by Iowa. Riley Moss there to hit him first.
Get down inside this inside the 10-yard line. Look how tight the windows are. Ball is out tight, and even then you got a corner coming in, you got linebackers in there, safeties in there. I mean, he's fortunate to catch the football, but no chance of getting into the end zone.
Connor Asali, a fifth-year senior from Naperville, Illinois. Inside the 30, he is money. This is from 23 to give the Clones the lead. And he does, and Iowa State is on the board first. The Cyclones under Matt Campbell taking advantage of their first decent field position of the day. Turn it into a drive, 11 plays, 63 yards, eat up nearly 5.5, and they take a 3-0 lead. So as the fans enjoy and make sure that they stay hydrated, let's have a quick word from Cheez-It.
If you're not familiar with this rivalry and you're not familiar with this matchup, 3-0 potentially at the end of the first quarter is kind of par for the course. This has the makings of a 20-17 kind of game. So every possession is going to matter. So you see Matt Campbell bouncing up and down of excitement. They just got 3 points on the board in this game. This is not your typical 2021 college game where it's going to be a shootout. Who has the ball last 42-38. It's going to be a low-scoring, old-school game. So every possession will matter.
You know, Kirk, that really happened after Campbell's second year here. It was one of those games that went into overtime. It was a 44-41 final that Iowa won, went back and forth, and it wasn't long after that that they really changed the way they played defense, and that's the way things have gone for Iowa State since then. This is the lineup. What a terrific lineup on ABC and ESPN. Washington and Michigan for Saturday Night Football on ABC tonight. Men's U.S. Open Championship and the Monday Night Football.
Yeah, great setup tonight. Don't be surprised to see that Washington team who lost to Montana last week be much more competitive today. You mentioned Pac-12 already with a big statement. Oregon goes over 2,400 miles to Columbus, Ohio. Looked great, looked very focused and prepared. Won that game. We'll see what Washington can do tonight in the Big House.
So impressive for Oregon. Really. We talked about it all day on College Game Day with Kayvon Thibodeau, who along with Will McDonald of Iowa State best pass rushers in the country. They didn't have him, didn't have their best linebacker. And still, they were able to go in and win the game as Iowa has it back down 3.
Well, real quick on that game, Anthony Brown, the quarterback from Oregon, incredibly well prepared. Joe Moorhead, who made a name for himself at Penn State as a play caller with Saquon Barkley, and Trace McSorley went to Mississippi State as the head coach, got let go, ended up in Eugene, really had it going, dialed it up, and it's all credit to Oregon with that game.
You know, that direct snap to Breece Hall earlier looked very much like a Joe Moorhead play that he used against Michigan when he was at Penn State with Saquon Barkley.
Went about 50 yards for a touchdown.
It did. We are coming to the end of the first quarter, and it has been a slugfest and hard-hitting. Iowa State up 3-0. That is the end of the first quarter here in Ames, and we'll be back after this message and a word from your local ABC station. By Arby's. That's a good idea with the 90-plus degree weather. Duck your head right in that water. Cool off a little bit. Unseasonably warm day for this red-hot rivalry as we start the second quarter here at Jack Trice Stadium in Ames. Reese Davis, Kirk Herbstreit, and Holly Rowe. Iowa has it down by 3 on the 2nd and 7. Petrus had people all around his feet. Goodson down to the backfield makes the catch. There's just not a lot of running room after you make the catch. Will McDonald was applying pressure.
And that's part of the strategy with this defense is having more speed on the field with just a 3-down lineman and eyes on the football. Brian Ferentz, the play caller and offensive coordinator from Iowa, is still trying to find the rhythm to this offense. It's tough to do. Only 14 yards of offense in the first quarter. One of their answers has been try to get Goodson, the tailback, lined up out wide. He's not right now down at the bottom. Just trying to get him in a matchup that's favorable.
Hawkeyes are 0 for 3 on 3rd down. Goodson makes the catch, eludes one tackle, going for the sticks in the first 3rd down conversion for Iowa.
Well, this is what they're trying to do is get him out in space. That time it paid off. But this is what Iowa State, on 1st and 10, they just anticipate that they're going to run. It's a wildcat to Goodson, able to slow him down. Iowa so far has gained 7 yards on 5 first down plays. 1 pass, and other than that, it's been 4 runs. So here comes their next 1st and 10. It's been a heavy run. Thought they might go more play action on 1st and 10 to break some tendencies, but it mostly runs so far, not working out.
Goodson has 7 yards rushing, 9 yards receiving. Not going to have much to it there as Aisheem Young is there to stop him.
And that's the extra hat. He's just kind of hanging out here almost like a robber, but he's not just for pass. Watch how quickly he comes down, almost mirrors Goodson. As soon as he sees the ball is handed off, he is flying downhill, and he's like another linebacker, but he's just a little bit deeper, allowing him to almost freelance. He's one of the more physical players you're going to see in the entire Big 12 Conference.
And it's difficult for the offense to identify exactly who might be charged.
Yeah, he's 13 yards back in many cases. Right now, he's kind of walked up tight right here.
2nd down and 7. A little bit of movement up front this time as Goodson pushes ahead. He'll bring up another 3rd down for the Hawkeyes. Mike Rose is there to stop him.
Linderbaum, the center. I mean, he is a handful in the middle that time. And if I'm running the ball and I'm Tyler Goodson, I'm just, where's 65? I know the play's designed to go over there, but I'm getting behind 65. He's the top center arguably in the entire country. He's moving people around, but as we all know, it's a unit and a group effort.
And talking about Linderbaum, all the great offensive linemen they've had, Wirfs, Gallery, they say that Linderbaum matches up with any of them. On 3rd down, good protection. Petrus fires way too high. 2nd time that he's tried to find his tight end, Sam Laporta, and it's misfired. It'll bring up 4th down.
Yeah, he had time here, but he had nobody open downfield. Laporta's handled that time in coverage very well by Johnson. Watch him, how he works here, gets to the outside, but that's the route. That's the only man. I mean, other than you have 21, Kelly Martin, but that's pretty good coverage, and you could almost see Petrus waiting, just a little uncomfortable with the timing of that route, and the ball just sailed on him.
Tariq Milton standing inside his own 10. Iowa State's been back there quite a bit today. Milton will make the fair catch right at the 10. Cyclones had a field goal drive last time. They'll have it back when you come back.
Let's go Cyclones!
Creative way to do it.
Failed two-point conversion. It's now a two-point game in South Bend, Reese.
You know what? Keep an eye on short week for Notre Dame after the emotional Florida State finish. Toledo's a good team, a veteran team. Purdy's going up top. Going to take a big one, and it's going to be picked off by Matt Hankins, who played the ball in the air beautifully.
Boy, Hankins does a great job. A veteran, one of the leaders of this defense. 30th start tonight. This ball, to me, is thrown late. Hutchison can go. He's got great speed, gets away with a little pull on the jersey, but you can see how late the football is. That's not underthrown. He just got it out. He had too many hitches, and he let the ball go late, allowed Hankins, who was in great position, to go up and make a play on the ball.
A veteran secondary. Hankins is in his 5th full year of eligibility. He was an honorable mention All Big Ten player last year. Last week it was Moss making the plays. Today in the early going it's Hankins, and now Iowa has excellent field position at the 49 of Iowa State. Do they take a shot after the turnover? Underneath, Petrus complete to Jackson Ritter.
See, that's what we're looking for right there. I think that's what you've got to mix in a little bit more, because on 1st and 10, you've got some softer coverage. It's a little bit easier on the offensive line to give him enough time. And that time you can see when Petrus throws in rhythm, back, pitch, throws with confidence, balls on a line, puts it out there where he can make a play on the football and pick up a first down.
Came up just a yard short. They marked him out a little bit, but now, but still, I mean, that's a big pickup on first down. Now it opens up a variety of options. Iowa instead will keep it on the ground with Goodson and pick up first down.
You know, we just did a package on 1st and 10 and how they had 5 first downs, 4 of them were run for like 7 yards. And you don't have to do it every 1st and 10. And Brian Ferentz, I think he's confident in his quarterback, Spencer Petras, to just sprinkle that in, make this defense have to be aware of it. Then you can go back to your bread and butter. Then you can find those running lanes. It makes it a little bit easier on Tyler Goodson and that offensive line on 1st and 10.
Petras, fires a dart into Luke Lachey, one of the tight ends. They use the tight end so well here.
Yeah, what a target, too. Luke Lachey, son of Jimmy Lachey, the former offensive lineman for the Washington Redskins. Watch him work and find this crease. 6'6", 1st and 10 throw. Tight little throw, tight window between Rose and the safety, but he makes it. You can just see the confidence that when Petras has that, he is a dangerous thrower, and the last 2 times he's had a chance to throw, it's both times have been on 1st and 10, and he's been, like I said, in rhythm.
He's living up to the legacy of the Dallas Clark, T.J. Hawkinson, George Kittle, and there goes Tyler Goodson trying to get the corner.
When Potabom would have turned, the lead fullback would have turned back and made a block. Now this play, maybe he's able to get around and get to the corner. Young that time got underneath the lead blocker, or that would have been big yards and potentially a touchdown.
So a couple of strong completions. Petrus now up to 40 yards passing. Kelly Martin is checked in and timeout being called by the Cyclones. So Iowa's starting to threaten to get the score, perhaps even take the lead. A rivalry brewing here in Ames. This week, college football coming together to honor teachers. The College Football Playoff Foundation and ESPN giving a $1,000 Donors Choose gift card to Dee Egdorf, an Iowa State communications professor who had quite an impact on Eni Uwazurike.
I came into Iowa State as an open option. Major didn't quite know exactly what I wanted to do. And yeah, I mean, just her calling me out in class, being goofy, and I got to see how fun, her class was, made me want to, learn more about communication studies. And I ended up picking that as a major, and I had fun with it and got my degree.
Uwazurike, starting defensive tackle for Iowa State, nominated Dee Egdorf. You can learn more about Extra Yard for Teachers. Follow at CFB Extra Yard on social media. And he's not in there right now, as Iowa's threatening in the red zone. Ivory Kelly Martin, he's going to be about a yard, maybe 2 short of the first down.
hard hitting going on in the trenches for both of these teams with these offensive line and defensive line, linebackers, safeties coming down, backs are running hard. It's just a throwback of a game, man. I love this. This is where you just, I know today they were really small shoulder pads. You might want to recommend for this game go up maybe a size or two for this game.
Tight ends out there. Linebackers close to the line of scrimmage. Potterbaum's out there. Goodson has it on the corner, and he's inside the 10, and he's got the first down. Isheem Young stopped him, but it'll be 1st and goal for the Hawkeyes.
You know, you saw Petrus get under center quickly, and right away you have an idea that something's up over here. You got 2 tight ends. Yep, there they go. Get the ball to Goodson, who's dangerous in space, and let Laporta and Shea, the 2 big tight ends, lead the way around the left side, and they pick up that first down.
So Iowa, who botched a 50-yard field goal attempt, and really their only scoring threat now, with a 1st and goal at the Iowa State 9. Give it on the inside to Potterbaum, often used as a blocker. He got a neck roll in there.
I mean, wait a second. We're handing the ball off to neck roll inside the 10-yard line in 2021. I love this. Leading with Laporta. That's like an old isolation play. And then they hand it off to the big fella, Laporta, who's used to just being out there blocking. Shows that he can be a short yardage back.
It's been a good drive for Iowa. Picked up 3 first downs, exceeding their total for the game so far. Or customary roll for Potterbaum now. Lead blocker. And there goes Tyler Goodson, and he's into the end zone for a touchdown. After the Hankins pick, Petrus leads the scoring drive.
Watch Linderbaum turn his body. Watch the center, 65. Work to the right and then turn his body. The entire offensive line just trying to create just a little bit of a seam. Here's the progressive pylon cam. Goodson gets across that goal line before his knee touches, and that is a touchdown for Iowa.
8 plays, 49 yards after the interception. And Iowa cashes it in. This has been a theme in this 5-game winning streak. Iowa State makes a mistake, and the Hawkeyes make them pay. Finishing the deal, Tyler Goodson, Iowa, up 7-3. Iowa trying to take a little bit of the steam out of this Cyclone crowd on a hot day. Just finished off a touchdown drive of 49 yards, and now the Cyclones will get it back, trailing 7-3. Caleb Shudak do the kicking for Iowa. And deep to receive, Xavier Hutchinson. Tyrell Brock is also deep. And that will come out to the 25 on a touchback as we welcome in the Bear, Chris Felica.
Big fella.
What's going on? We got today's Aflac trivia question, and we're going to test your NFL draft and college knowledge. Since 2000, there are only 2 Power 5 schools which do not have a first-round pick. Who are they? And I'm guessing by the fact that we are where we are, you can probably guess one of the 2 schools.
Okay, so Iowa State.
Iowa State and Kansas.
Kansas would be my 2.
Those are your 2, right?
Yeah, that's.
All right, Bear. That was an easy one.
Maybe,
Good one.
No, you know what? Kansas is a trick. One of them.
Oh, it's too obvious?
I think.
Or he might have led us down a path to assume it's one of it's obviously not Iowa.
Yeah, he's sneaky that way. There's Brees Hall. Using that vision to pick up about 3. Zach Van Valkenburg gets him.
He reminds me of somebody. Just thinking, I think it's Kerryon Johnson at Auburn.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of herky-jerky, patient, just waits, and then kind of bounces through the hole, but with physicality because of his size. Kerryon Johnson, when he was at Auburn, fit great into that system.
Brees was a guy that was overlooked in recruiting. Iowa State found him early, and others tried to get in late. Iowa, not necessarily late, but Iowa recruited him. They wanted him badly, but he's stuck with Matt Campbell. Purdy's being chased right now. Brock headed to the 30, and He's guided out of bounds there. Dane Belton pulled up, make sure he didn't get a flag.
You know, this is something where, you know, again, you want to see Purdy, who's outstanding, but he's looking right here. You throw this football right here, you got a nice completion. And instead, he bails out. He gets away from it, and now you're in a tough position. Now it's third down. But if he locks in there, his big tight end, by the way, it's 6'7", is a nice target and an easy throw for a first down.
Iowa defense pointing, and it's going to be a false start.
Offense number 64. 5-yard penalty. Still third down.
Eric Schweiger a little over anxious, so now instead of 3rd and 4, you got 3rd and long. Need 9 to get the first down.
Between these two coaching staffs, when we were talking to them on our Zooms getting ready for this game, both of them, I don't know how many times they both said turnover, protect the ball, win the turnover margin. We got to win the turnover. We got to win the turnover. It's going to be one of those kind of games. And sure enough, Iowa's 7 points off the turnover.
And Iowa has yet to be penalized. Iowa State flagged 3 times. There's Purdy firing it down the middle. And he's got the tight end, Charlie Kohler. Big Charlie, the most catches and touchdown catches by tight end in Cyclone history.
Yeah, 6'6" on this little matchup to the outside against a very talented Dane Belton, but undersized. Gets good separation at the top of the route. Easy throw for Purdy.
Breece Hall finds his way to pick up 3 or 4. So we check in with Holly.
Well, guys, talking with the coaches, they said 2 of the guys that have changed their body the most on this team is Mike Rose and Breece Hall, that they have completely changed their makeup. I talked with strength and conditioning coach Dave Andrews, and he said we wanted him to have less cargo, more horsepower that he can then translate into speed, and you're seeing that. A leaner, stronger, faster Breece Hall by doing all the little things off the field to make sure his body is primed for this game.
Here's Purdy on 2nd and 7. And Brock will toss it away. Seth Benson is applying a little pressure.
Yeah, but last year, 9 100-yard games, over 1,500 yards, 21 touchdowns. I mean, he is probably one of the best backs on a national level you don't hear enough about. In the Big 12 region, of course, they know all about him, but what Holly is mentioning, I love the fact that he's had so much success, but there's a willingness there to just kind of keep raising the bar. He wants to do the little thing. This program is really all about that. Whether it's nutrition, weightlifting, sleep, you got to buy into the whole package, and he's an example.
Competitive character, the Campbell called it. How badly do you want to be great? And a good throw from Purdy, and the usually sure-handed Kohler couldn't pull it in. It'll be 4th down.
Wow, that is a heck of a ball, perfectly placed. And look at 6'6" goes up, has a chance, but the fact that you got a defender that did not give up on that play is the difference there. Justin Jacobs, good job. That looked like a completion. I think we all up here thinking first down, but 5 got his hand in there and knocked it away.
Kohler didn't play last week. We've seen him make that play over the years. One that he would like to have back, but instead it'll be Iowa State punting it away. Iowa saying get out of there. That ricocheted off somebody, but that was off a Cyclone, so we won't have a change of possession there. And Iowa will have it back. Last time they had it, they took it down for a touchdown.
RD.
Kevin, that is probably much closer than some anticipated, but not my partner.
I thought Toledo had a chance there. Sometimes you mess around with those good MAC teams, you got a game on your hands.
You still have a game. You still got a chance. Mayer's a couple of touchdowns today. Peakus now in trouble. Gets away from one, but not the first one.
Well, you're seeing Brian Ferentz make some adjustments. And one of them is just getting the ball out. You just saw it again. These are 1st and 10 throws. Something we did not see in the first quarter at all. And this last drive, Lachey with a nice catch. And then see the big fullback. And then eventually they score with Goodson. But all of that really set up by early down play action pass and just throwing the football and taking some of the pressure off of that offensive line. They tried it again here to start this series, but this time it backfires on the sack.
Zach Peterson Getting the sack. McDonald was there to finish it. It's the second sack of the first half. Ivory Kelly Martin has the short catch and picks up about 3. Kimani King on the stop.
One of the great things about John Haycock's defense isn't just the 3-3-5 stack that we always talk about, and all these defensive coordinators around the country come to Ames to learn. I think it's the way they fly to the football. You know, they play a lot of zone, which means their eyes are on the football, and then they fly, never taking plays off. He demands it, and they follow orders.
He told us yesterday that it looks complex to some, but it allows their players to go fast and go on. We've seen a lot of that in the first half. Third down now for Peaches. He took it right in the mouth when he threw it, and then Laporta caught it. How about Peaches getting hit in the mustache by Hummel and still delivering the strike?
But you see Rose right here is going to clear out, and then you see Laporta kind of find the crease in that defense right there. Nice throw, gets it out early, and Reese, you made a great point. You love to see this from quarterbacks, a willingness to throw it, know they're going to get hit, and he got hit as he released the football, and they pick up a big first down on 3rd and long.
They're now 3 of 7 on 3rd down, and Peaches starting to warm up. Might be warming up. He's also going down, although that was a tremendous effort to keep that from being a negative play. At least picked up 1. Uwazurike
going up against an All-American center in Linderbaum there, just kind of looking into the backfield and trying to force Peaches to make a decision to go one way or another. Peaches doesn't have great lateral quick, so once he makes up his mind, he's going that direction. So he's able to at least avoid loss of yards, and he's picked up a few positive yards from where he potentially could have gone down.
Kelly Martin has returned at running back. The give is to Ivory Kelly Martin. Good hole over the left side. Aisheem Young is able to chop him down. Holly, what do you have on Spencer Petras?
You guys are seeing some good toughness from him. A nice run, took a hit, but he actually started his career on defense. He said his freshman year in high school, he could not win the starting job at quarterback, so he ended up being a defensive end. He ended up breaking his arm playing football that year, and his career was done, but he was that much more motivated to win the starting job at quarterback the next year, so his days on defense were done.
And how he played at Marin Catholic in San Rafael, California, where Jared Goff did. He broke a number of Jared Goff's high school records. And 3rd and very short. Hawkeyes push it straight ahead. And they'll pick up the first down. Clock will start winding toward the 2-minute mark here in the first half.
Petras with a lot of 3rd down throws, started early in the first quarter, 2 of 6 for just 7 yards, and since then I think he and Brian Ferentz, the play caller and offensive coordinator, have settled in. He's 5 of 5.
Kelly Martin, good cut, gets it into field goal range, but the football comes out. Mad scramble for it. Who comes up with it? And there it is. The first turnover for the Hawkeyes against the Cyclones since 2015. TJ Tampa came up with the recovery.
Boy, big hit there by a couple Cyclones. It looks like Young came in and knocked that ball loose. Let's see if his knee is down as he gets hit. He's holding on. Actually, his backside. Yeah, he's got possession of that ball as he goes down. It's okay. The officials are going to call that a fumble on the field. I'm sure they're going to review this because you could see his backside is down. Big hit that time again by Aisheem Young. That's what he's known for.
You see, I mean, I think they're going to call him down, but I mean, that was instantaneous. The ball moving, they did. They called it down, and Iowa has it back, and now there's another completion for Petras, this time to Charlie Jones.
Yeah, the passing game is becoming the difference right now for Petras, throwing on his terms. Instead of waiting till 3rd down and long and making it tough, they're throwing when it's 2nd and short and 1st and 10. Easier on the pass protection, easier on the quarterback and the timing with the receivers.
So 1:15 remaining here in the first half. Iowa threatening to get more as we check. they did open it up against a UAB team who typically plays really good defense. I don't want to steal their thunder, but you like Stetson Bennett, you probably want to stick around for those highlights, right?
And if his name sounds familiar, he was the quarterback that kind of emerged last year, early in the year. Actually started the game where they went to Tuscaloosa, big game against Alabama.
Bennett, former walk-on, and for those who might not have heard, JT Daniels, the Georgia starting quarterback, had an oblique injury. He was pushing to play today, but obviously Kirby Smart made a wise move. Kevin and Booger will look into all of that, show you the highlights and everything else, including Notre Dame in trouble. Here, Iowa's trying to get more, and Peters, it has it knocked away, and it's an incomplete pass. He's moving forward. It was Peterson on the applying the pressure again. Linderbaum was there to get it just in case.
They just closed that pocket with just brute force. I mean, look at the center, Linderbaum, who does a good job, but you can see the hands being used up front by Isaiah Lee, and eventually it was Zach Peterson, 55, who came right on the front side, and it almost looked like he wanted to hold the ball, like maybe hold on to it. The ball clearly came out of his hand. Official right there calling the ball, his hand coming forward for an incompletion.
Second down and 10. Let's get it off of the play clock. Petras lofting it toward the end zone, and it's Charlie Jones, and he's got it for a touchdown.
Well, if you're an Iowa fan, you've been kind of wondering who's going to emerge as our go-to wide receiver, and right before our eyes, we're starting to see the leading candidate, 16, Charlie Jones. Safety goes with the tight end, Lachey, opens up a very tight throw there. Got to go over top with a safety, Young, but a great throw thrown on time on the post there by Petras to, again, the emerging star, Charlie Jones.
How about Petras in his first hostile environment? Recall last year the Big Ten played only conference games. Fans weren't in the building, and here you come on against your rival, desperate to beat you. And a minute and 1 second away from halftime, Iowa's up 14-3.
So Lachey's right on kind of on the inside, working right here. He's going to take the safety with him, and it's going to open it up to the outside. All he has to do is be concerned about Young in the middle, number 1, right here. And because he got it out early enough, he goes over top of him. And how about the focus and concentration? A great ball by Petras, but you love to see Charlie Jones go up and make that catch and hold on to the football. That's big time.
As Jones' first receiving touchdown for Iowa. He started his career at Buffalo, and he had some there, but transferred after the 17-18 season, and he has a big catch and touchdown in his rivalry game.
And with Amir Smith-Marset moving on and Brandon Smith moving on, they had a lot of bodies and a lot of guys that are capable, but with this offense being predicated upon running the ball and winning the line of scrimmage, you still need somebody that can strike fear in the defense, an ability to stretch the field. And like I said, 16, Charlie Jones showing he's got it. He can be that guy.
He was awarded a scholarship last year by Kirk Ferentz, and is worth every penny of it.
For that catch alone. that was spectacular. Rivalry game.
The senior from Deerfield, Illinois, has his moment, but now the Cyclones are going to have to see if they can answer. And now, Bear, we have to answer the Aflac trivia question.
Well, you obviously forgot the answer earlier with the Aflac trivia question that Aqib Talib was a first-round pick from Kansas.
Okay.
But two schools are Iowa State and Indiana. Indiana's last first-round pick, Thomas Lewis in 1994, and Iowa State has had one. Georgia Munson in 1973, and Brees Hall, by the way, is Mel Kiper Jr.'s #1 draft eligible running back.
Interesting. You're going all the way back to 1994, Thomas Lewis. Wow.
I think Bear believes Brees Hall may go in the first round. Figured he better get that trivia question in before Iowa State gets knocked off that list. Now with a minute to play here in the first half, see if Iowa State can get a little something going. There is Brees Hall. Catches the pass from Purdy, gets out close to the 30.
You go back to Iowa's defense, whether it's 2-minute or it's just regular situation, keep everything in front, rally to the football. Don't give up explosives. Makes it really tough to move the ball on them, even in these kind of situations.
Purdy getting heat. Escape. Hall has it. First down and more. He gets up close to the 45. Clock will stop to move the chain.
Yeah, what it does is force you to have to check down or throw the ball underneath, and then you rely on a Breece Hall to make people miss, and he was able to pick up a good chunk of yards there. They still are holding on to those timeouts.
Under half minute to go. Quick completion to Chase Allen. He gets out of bounds.
You know, if you're Matt Campbell, you're thinking, okay, we deferred, won the toss, deferred, get the ball to start the second half, 14-3, 23 seconds, got a quarterback who's making his 35th career start. We got to get points here. You know, we got to be able to at least give ourselves a chance to get 3 points on the board.
If you're wondering, got the field goal target line just inside the 40. Transfer from Fordham, Andrew Mevis was knocking him in from about 57 in warm-ups. So it would be right on that 39 to 40-yard line range. Here's Purdy. Got a lot of protection, and he's got a strike in there to Darren Wilson. Wilson inside the 10 and trying to get to the pylon, and he's knocked out of bounds just short. And with 12 seconds left, Iowa State has a chance to answer with a touchdown.
How about the protection here? They do a good job of giving him the time that he needs. You know, he's looking, waiting. I actually thought he might look here, but instead he makes the tougher throw across the middle of the field over the linebacker, Jack Campbell. Great job by the offensive line. That took forever for that play to develop until Wilson held on to that for the huge yards, and now forget just the field goal, Reese. They're thinking touchdown.
Absolutely. So you got 12 seconds here on 1st and goal, and
you have to use a timeout.
The play clock was getting on them, but still should be okay because you're going to want to throw to the end zone anyway. Here, you have a chance. You have a chance to probably get it in there. Make at least 2 throws to the end zone.
Yeah.
And if things go quickly enough. Really quickly enough, maybe you get 3 and still have a chance for the field goal unit, but maybe that won't be an issue. I think this is a really aggressive and good, obviously good answer, but an aggressive one for Iowa State after that great drive from the Hawkeyes.
It really was. I mean, you knew that they were going to, at the very least, fight to try to be able to get in field goal range. They hit the bonus there. I mean, being able to have the time to make that throw was crucial. And then once Wilson makes the catch, he's able to extend it and get big yards, trying to think about, again, get a touchdown here. 4-yard line, couple throws, still have a timeout.
Who would you look for?
I mean, Breece Hall is always a good option. With that timeout, you don't necessarily have to just take shots. If you're out of timeouts, it would be the case, but you can still work Breece Hall here.
That is what they do. Hall pushing. Did he get it? He did. Touchdown, Iowa State.
Again, with that timeout, that's what gives you that chance to be able to make that. And what a call, what a block by Russ.
All stretching in.
Yeah, he got it.
Yeah, he got in there.
He got it. Momentum never stops. Breaks the plane for the touchdown. You want to talk about an impressive block. Wait till you see Russ coming inside. They're going to take a peek at this. Here's the progressive pylon cam. Even a better look. See his glove and the ball. Extend, break the plane for the touchdown.
Our buddy Bill Amanya is confirming there.
Watch this block right here that just seals the backside. Boom! By Russ, and that's exactly where he ends up cutting it back and working back into that offensive line. A great push up front and a good job by Jared Russ sealing off the backside of that run.
Well, 1:01 left on the clock in the first half. They get it back and march it down for a momentum-grabbing touchdown.
And again, as we said at the beginning of that drive, it was important to get points and hit the ball to start the second half.
Field of touchdown stand.
I would say confirmed, but tomato. 6 points nonetheless. Now the extra point awaits. 14th consecutive game for Breece Hall, scoring a rushing touchdown. Been held at 37 yards in the first half, under 4 yards to carry, but that was a tough run as Andrew Mevis comes on for the extra point. And just when you wondered if Iowa State would start thinking, here we go again against these guys, instead they retaliate.
We've referenced it a lot when you say, here we go again. Matt Campbell, for all he's done, has yet to beat Iowa. They've lost 5 in a row overall, 6 of the last 7. And they feel that they've got a team that in their minds, is as good, if not better, with a lot of veterans at some key spots, and they get them here in Ames. So you just thinking, if you're an Iowa State fan, this is the year. We're going to get over the hump and beat Iowa and have a magical year. And that was a significant scoring drive to give them the belief and confidence going in at halftime.
I thought it was really something that was interesting that Matt said yesterday about the last 3 games that this place is rocking again now. That he felt as if they had controlled what he referred to as the game flow about 90% of the time in the last 3 meetings. But precision, detail, with that final 10% that lets you win or lose the game, they hadn't executed there. Been close. We've got a close one here. Entertaining first half. There's still 7 seconds left. Who knows what might happen next? And Charlie Jones, who scored the touchdown for Iowa, has it. And Charlie's going to get out to about the 36. And time expires here in the first half as Purdy led a terrific drive. And Kirk, you made that excellent point earlier. Not only get the touchdown, Cyclones are going to get it to start the second half. And here's Holly Rowe with Kirk Ferentz.
Well, Coach, your passing game picked up some rhythm after you started passing on early downs. How did that change help you?
Yeah, they're making it tough for us to run right now and being really aggressive. Yeah, so we just switched a little bit, that's all.
Turnovers. How does your defense keep coming up with them? 4 now in your first 2 games.
I don't know, but I hope they have a couple more left. We could use a couple more.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
So Ferentz, I know maybe they didn't finish the first half the way they'd like. You go on the road against this team, your rival, and you have a lead on that guy. Successful first half. End of the first half. 14-10. Iowa has the lead in the Cyhawk Showdown. State Farm halftime report coming up right after these messages.
Welcome back to the Dr. Pepper Championship Drive Game of the Week.
Welcome back to ESPN College Football on ABC, presented by Arby's. In this presentation of the Big 12 on ESPN. This is the Dr. Pepper Championship Drive Game of the Week, about to start the third quarter. Iowa and Iowa State. Reese Davis and Kirk Herbstreit here. Cyclones got a touchdown late in the half to draw closer, 14-10 as we get ready to start the third.
Yeah, and they get the ball to start the second half. You know, Breece Hall, it feels like he's starting to kind of get going. Still going to see him in the passing game, I think, in this second half. Xavier Hutchinson, not very much involved. He's probably their best vertical threat. You got to think they're going to try to find ways to get him active. And then for Iowa, you know, Tyler Goodson's a very good back, but I think it tells you how tough Iowa State is to run the ball. He's averaging only 2.8 yards a carry. So Brian Ferentz, I think, has gone back to the drawing board. A little bit more early down passing for Petrus to see if that could set up the running lane.
That late drive gave Iowa State the edge in yardage and really got them back in the game as we check in with Holly Rowe.
Well, Iowa State went tempo to end the half, and it worked out. They scored. I asked Matt Campbell if he would consider doing more of that on this drive, and he said, well, for sure, we have to be more aggressive. We can't let that one interception that slipped out of the receiver's hands prevent us from going downfield and being more active in the passing game. I said, so do you want to let it rip? He said, I like it. You say it, I like it. It sounds pretty good. They let it rip.
Well, you got a quarterback like Brock Purdy, Holly, you have a little bit more confidence to let it rip, and that offensive line doing a pretty good job of giving him time. Those tight ends are tough matchups at 6'7" and 6'6".
Purdy at 10 of 17 for 120 yards. Big play to Darren Wilson late in the first half to set up the Breece Hall touchdown, and Purdy comes out. Oh, let one rip early, and that one goes right off of Hutchinson and falls to the ground eventually.
Now they'll clear out. You know, their tight ends, what makes them tough is their versatility. They can line up. It makes it hard on the defensive coordinator. Is it what we would call 12 personnel with 1 running back and 2 tight ends? Or is the tight ends going to line up as wide receivers? Both Kohler and Allen both have that ability. In that last play, they were lined up as receivers, just clearing out, trying to open it up to get the ball to Skates underneath.
Allen and Kohler. Allen's in his 6th year. Kohler in his 5th. Here's Purdy on 2nd and 10. And he does find the reliable Kohler, who makes the grab with a Hawkeye draped all over him. First down.
And again, think about Kohler again. It's 6'6", 260. You got some room. You got to get that to the inside and up high where it's hard for Belton to try to make a play on the ball. Great location there and confidence from Purdy and good location on that football.
Needed 10, got exactly that. It's Tariq Milton coming across in motion. And now to Hall, looking for room, and a good pickup on first down for Breece, close to the 40-yard line. Van Valkenburg with the stop.
Offensive line, really from the latter part of the first half. See how it goes here on this drive. Starting, I think, get a little bit of a better feel for what Phil Parker and this defense is trying to do with some of the twists, slants, different movement that Iowa likes to use. Getting a better push up front.
Starting offensive line, a veteran group. As a lot of these Iowa State players have been around for a while. They've got 6 super seniors. Purdy has to get away from the rush. Purdy launching it downfield and just gets rid of it. It'll be 3rd down. It was Noah Shannon breaking through there to put the heat on Brock Purdy.
You know, whether you watch an NFL football or college football, and the only reason I bring this up is because Iowa State has so much pre-snap movement. They'll return their tight ends from one side to the other. They'll bring the H-back from one side to the other and back the other way. Wonder why they might be doing that, because Iowa's not moving that much. All they're trying to do is impact the communication, affect just the slightest adjustment or hesitation from the linebackers and safeties. And also it helps you kind of pick up what kind of coverage they're in when you have pre-snap movement.
Hutchinson sure-handed, and Hutchinson's across the 45. That'll be enough for the first down.
And that was an example of it right there. When Hutchinson went into motion, he had a man follow him. See the man follow him, now you know he has man-to-man. Kohler to the left, 88. He's almost going to create a little pick, a little wall. He knows he has man-to-man. He knows he has a defensive back following him over. All he's essentially doing is running a route, just trying to get in the way of that defensive back that followed Hutchinson there in motion.
Xavier Hutchinson, the Big 12 Newcomer of the Year last year, and on 9/11, worth pointing out. Xavier's parents in the Navy served. Grateful for everyone's service, and there have been great tributes around college football all day. Purdy pulls it, keeps it, and a short gain off the left side.
Kind of starting on College Game Day this morning, just a day to reflect, with it being the 20th anniversary of 9/11. Gene Wojciechowski had a tremendous feature showing all the college football coaches and some of their messages to their teams and players about this week and this day and how important it is to remember those who have fallen.
A great tribute here this morning there too. There's a receiver out there. Purdy was throwing deep. It was Joe Skates, and Matt Hankins, who had an interception in the first half, was right there with him.
Well, Joe Evans does a good job of getting to the outside and forces Purdy. Then he's going up against the tight end. See how he's in there, almost a holding call, but because he had to step up, See how late he is? We saw it earlier on a throw that was picked off by Hankins. You got to be really careful against a good defensive back of underthrowing a deep ball. He got away with it that time. This time it's to Skates. But because he had to step up, Skates was way downfield and the ball underthrown.
You see Purdy's numbers on 3rd down. They'll need 6 here. Coming around the corner, there's going to be a hole on that left side. Purdy, see if he'll throw it away, but there's going to be a holding call. It's going to likely be declined and bring up 4th down.
Yeah. You get him into obvious 3rd, like any quarterback, 3rd and 7, but especially in this offense, they love balance. They love to throw on their terms. They don't want to be back there at 3rd and long.
Offense number 72. That penalty's decline brings up 4th down.
I'll say this for Jake Remsburg. If you're going to hold, you might as well get your money's worth.
Yeah, right. Ben Valkenburg, he is the leader now, one of the only defenders that has experience coming into this year off the edge, 6'4", 267, really known for his physicality. But I think he's kind of taken another step in this offseason. He's now become that go-to guys and pass rusher you have to be careful of.
Charlie Jones is standing at his 10-yard line. Dunn sends it that way. Jones will make the fair catch at the 10, and Iowa will have it for the first time in the second half here at Ames.
Well, Iowa quarterback Spencer Petras off to a slow start early, but boy, in the second quarter, he started to get comfortable. Brian Ferentz got more aggressive. What we saw is a variety of attributes. The toughness to sit in there and make that throw. That led eventually to the nice touch and a touchdown pass to Charlie Jones over the top of the safety, that time Young. And Petras having some confidence towards the end of the first half. Let's see how he picks up now to start this second half.
Well, he's the life of the party around his Hawkeye teammates. He was the life of the offense. There's some excellent play late in the first half. Nothing doing at all for Goodson. It'll be 2nd down and 10. Started 2 out of 6 or 7 yards, Harvey, but after that, it's razor sharp.
Yeah, again, you have to keep everything in perspective. You know, in this day and age, you look at these passing yards, and for some people, that's a series or 2. I mean, Matt Corral at Ole Miss, he's like, yeah, that's a good start. That's a good for opening possession. That's just not the style of offense in these games for either one of these teams. So they stay within the confines of the offensive structure, but you could see he found a rhythm in that latter part of the first half.
Goodson got nothing on his first carry. He's going to lose about 5 on his second. Will McDonald, Zach Peterson both back there first.
Well, the defense is flowing this way, but watch 9 do a really good job of fighting through this outside stretch play. Just never gives up on it. And actually, instead of just holding the point, he kept fighting, keeping that outside shoulder free, kept his balance, got upfield, and actually made the tackle for a loss. That was a great play. Known for his pass rushing ability, but there showing you what he can do against the run.
And 3rd and 14, Iowa State fans trying to make it hard on the Iowa quarterback. Petras from his own end zone fires it in the middle, but it comes free. He was looking for Laporta. And I mean, look, he can turn that thing loose. And Laporta had his hands on it and couldn't haul it in.
Yeah, Laporta's out here. He's going to just work to the middle, try to just find a soft spot between the linebackers, and he actually does. They're on the same page. Ball just a little high. And as you said, that had some smoke on it. I thought he had a hold of that football before he gets hit. Ball came out.
The ball placement, hey, look, with all the traffic around, ball needs to be caught. It is something that they've talked about with Petras, making it as easy as possible on his receivers. So Milton comes in. Now the question is, did it touch him? And they're saying no, so
came close.
Yeah, Terry Roberts is one of the better special teams players for Iowa.
No, yep, he's safe. And the way this series has gone, Iowa State fans thinking, oh no, Not again, but catch a break.
Well, not again, exactly. Remember, 2019, the last time these two teams played, something very similar. There was a muffed punt that turned the game. In fact, the Cyhawk game, here it was, September 14th, and you see the collision on special teams, the muff, and Iowa was able to recover it, and they would go on to get the 18-17 win. So this time, it could have been a tough turn of events for the Cyclones. Does not go their way, and Brock Purdy is going straight down.
The one thing, he didn't muff the punt, but he could have fair caught the ball close to midfield. So at the very least, they lose about 20 to 25 yards. Ball's all the way back to start this drive at their own 25. So they flipped the field in favor of Iowa in a close game.
And to help matters out, they just got their first tackle for a loss.
Yeah.
Loss 2. Hall in motion. Pressure coming. And down goes Purdy. They were bringing everybody. Dane Belton, Jack Campbell back there.
Well, it's unusual to see Iowa do this. They usually don't bring this kind of pressure. They bring pressure and they actually drop here, little zone pressure. Usually you'll see that more on a third down, if at all. Phil Parker just doesn't believe in always dialing up that kind of pressure, and I think he caught Iowa State off guard. Belton got in there in a hurry.
69-yard punt. 2 plays have lost 10 yards. That will flip the field for you. Now let's see if Iowa State can get some of it back on 3rd and 20. Not much. Joe Evans is there again, and Hawkeye defense starting to flex a little muscle.
Well, this Iowa defense with just 4 can get pressure. They actually end up using 97 Van Valkenburg as just kind of a spy, and he does a good job. You also can see Joe Evans getting off of his block. Well, that's beautiful pressure from rushing 4 and sitting back playing man under. Just play didn't have a chance. That entire series didn't have a chance for Iowa State.
That was as rough a 4-play stretch, including the punt, as Iowa State has had since real early in the game. Corey Dunn trying to get him out of some of the trouble, and he unleashes a beauty. Charlie Jones still on his feet. He's into Cyclone territory before he's pushed out of bounds.
Telling you, man, Charlie Jones is becoming the guy for this Iowa team.
Charlie Jones has set him up well for the 24-yard return. To negate some of that 54-yard punt.
You know, again, they need a spark to this offense that wants to rely on running the ball. They need a guy in special teams. They need a guy with a little bit of juice to go along with Tyler Goodson. You got great tight ends. You got a great offensive line, quarterback that isn't a runner. So you need a little bit of speed. And they've been waiting to see if it was going to be Tyrone Tracy, and it still could be. But today, we've been seeing 16 Charlie Jones really emerge in special teams and also had the big touchdown catch.
A slightly better field position than Iowa got it after the interception. And they really went after the Iowa State defense there. Let's see what they do this time. Petrus out, complete, perfect ball placement there. Tyrone Tracy, the aforementioned wide receiver, makes the catch.
I know it's a broken record, but Petrus, man, on 1st and 10, I'm sure Brian Ferentz is seeing the same thing. He just has such confidence. It's like when they call a throw on 1st and 10, he and his receivers, they just look like it's almost like a 7-on-7 drill. You know, there's just such confidence. He's got time, puts that back foot in the ground, comes out firing, balls on the money almost every time.
We're disappointed that they didn't get Tracy the ball more against Indiana. Been targeted a couple of times in this one. Now back to the ground and back to Goodson, and Goodson has the first down. Gets to the 30-yard line.
38, Pottebaum doing a good job leading the way there. Iowa State getting upfield vertically, sometimes a dangerous thing to do. Laporta there in motion, helps set the edge, picks up another block there on the safety King. So a 1st and 10 throw sets up a 2nd and short, much more manageable.
Goodson Feels like he was about that close to popping that one. Maybe running for the house as it is 1st and 10. A little waggle, and Petrus fires it over Laporta's head.
Well, one thing Reese did there, he wanted to get the ball out quickly to Laporta, but he had Lachey on the backside right here. He just looked too quickly, but look, if he waited just maybe a beat longer and would have looked to the backside, he had the big fellow Lachey, number 85, dragging from behind. It would have been a big yards.
Lachey had a big 17-yard catch in the first half. Now Petrus back to work, gets rid of it, throws it underneath, and unable to keep his feet is Nico Reganey, kid out of Avon Old Farms School for Boys, making the catch.
Football powerhouse, right?
Yes, they are. Esperando at Perseverando for the Winged Beaver.
Absolutely.
Aspire and persevere.
I love it.
And Nico's been a little quiet today, and he didn't get much done on that one. It's a 3rd and 10 coming up for the Hawkeyes. Petrus feeling some heat, and he's sacked, and they're way out of field goal range now as Jake Hummel gets him. Big play for the Cyclone defense.
Well, as a veteran, Petrus has got to understand he cannot take this sack. Hummel's out here just keeping contained. Once Petrus feels this, he gets outside of the pocket. He's got to throw that ball away. Every possession in a game like this counts. Chances at a field goal matter, and he ends up going from the 30-yard line all the way back to the 41, and obviously now they've got a punt. That's one he'd love to have back and just get it, abort, throw it away, and try to attempt a field goal.
In the last 6 games, plus what we've seen today, as Iowa downs the punt, the Iowa State defense has allowed 1 touchdown and 35 drives. And now, see what Hershey can get done on deep. A moving tribute on 9/11, 20th anniversary of the attacks on the United States. This is a piece of the steel beam from the South Tower at the World Trade Center in New York. Planes hit. It was one of the last pieces of steel to be removed. It's the Fire Service Training Bureau in Johnston, Iowa. And this is a field of flags that some of the students put up in honor of all of those who lost their lives, nearly 3,000 people. And then a flyover with a Huey helicopter, a couple of UH-60 Black Hawk helicopters from the Iowa Army National Guard's Charlie Company. And the patriotic feel that we experienced game day, people pulling together, moving moments. You mentioned Gene Wojciechowski's beautiful piece about all of the college football coaches and how they'd shared that with their players. It's really moving. Ball is on the ground. A fumble, a scoop, and a score. It's another turnover, and Jack Campbell is in the end zone. An absolutely awful turn of events for the Cyclones, but there is a flag.
There is no foul on the previous play. Result of the play is a touchdown.
Well, Justin Jenkins does a really good job here getting off of the block by Chase Allen, 11. He's right here. Watch him take on Allen, who's a big man at tight end. Takes him on, extends his arms, and then gets his hand right on the football against Breece Hall. Knocks it loose, and there's his cohort, Jack Campbell, to pick it up and walk into the end zone.
Second turnover for Iowa State. The last one led to a touchdown drive. This is scoop and score. 3rd defensive touchdown of the season for Iowa, and a huge one here late in the 3rd quarter that gives the 10th-ranked Hawkeyes an 11-point lead.
You work on this as a ball carrier trying to secure the ball, but you also work on this as a defender trying to knock that ball loose, which is exactly what Jacobs does. Campbell picks it up, and the Hawks capitalize.
Taco Bell welcomes you to the Live My Student Section of the Year contest. You can use hashtag Student Section Sauce to get the committee's attention. Go to ESPN.com/Taco Bell to see how your school can compete. 7,800 student tickets sold for this game. They were really fired up. This is one of their heroes, Breece Hall, who just had a tough moment. Turning loose of the football, Jack Campbell scooped and scored, and Iowa with the 11-point lead. And now Cyclones have answered
for Mario Cristobal and Oregon in the Pac-12 coming up with that big win. For Dell, boy, he a great game. Just focused. Every time they'd show his face, he was on a business trip today.
3 touchdowns. See, right now we've been keeping up too. Colorado's giving Texas A&M everything it wants. UCLA won last week, and we've got Washington and Michigan coming up tonight. Jairell Brock in there, and Jack Campbell, who just scored the touchdown, helps on the tackle.
We were talking at the break about this is a great Iowa football team. They're going to make you beat them. Today, no turnovers, no penalties, 14 points off of 2 Iowa State turnovers. And I'll tell you, the guy that we need to talk about is right there. The MVP, Torrey Taylor, the punter. He has put Iowa State inside, starting their own 8-yard line, 6-yard line, 10-yard line, and 6-yard line before that last fumble. Winning the field position game, which was critical.
That's why he was the Big Ten punter of the year last year with Purdy. See if he has answered right through the hands of the receiver, and Seth Benson has another turnover. 3rd of the day for the Cyclones.
You just said it. They're going to make you beat them. They're going to force you into mistakes. Can you be patient? Can you be methodical and work your way down the field? This time it just goes right through the hands of Hutchison. They're sitting back, keeping the ball in front of them. And how about the reaction time by Seth Benson? We've seen Dane Belton. We've seen Justin Jacobs, Jack Campbell, and now Seth Benson. All 4 of these backers active, making plays, awareness, heads up, and the Hawks going in potentially for a critical touchdown. Could be a clincher here in the 3rd quarter.
It is paramount for the Cyclones to hold him to a field goal attempt here. Getting down 18 to this defense is not good business. 3 turnovers to none. Ivory Kelly Martin has it. They'll pick up about 1. He's stopped by Hummel and Peterson.
We just talked a lot about the Iowa linebackers, and this is where back into a corner, Iowa State's linebackers led by Mike Rose, 23, Orion Vance, Jack Hummel. These guys now have got to step up. You know, you need a play. You need something to turn this thing around, and you got to rely on your leaders to do that.
And they've got plenty of them. Rose is the Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year. Petras to the end zone. It's Jones out there, but he was a little too far. I'll tell you what, this Charlie Jones is dangerous, man.
I mean, again, I like to refer to Charlie Jones as that backyard football guy. Grew up playing backyard football, just runs out of space, but he lays out. What a look at it right here, right into your family room. Oh goodness! Oh, the ball got through his hands.
But I mean, it was the cuticle of the toenail.
I didn't realize if he would have held on to that ball, he actually got his right foot down.
My goodness! What a performance so far today. Getting up against the play clock here.
And Kirk Ferentz yelling, running, get a timeout.
Charge timeout, Iowa. They're first. A 30-second timeout.
30-second timeout here for the Hawkeyes. Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is a proud sponsor of ESPN College Football. Tweak the formula a little bit. You can try new Coca-Cola Zero Sugar. Happy to be working with them, and there might be some celebratory beverages lifted in Iowa City if this score holds up.
21-10. 3:41 to go in the 3rd quarter. You mentioned not giving up a touchdown, which would be obviously big trouble going down 18 in 3 possessions. You hold them to a field goal, you're still right there within a couple possessions. So this is a big 3rd and 9 for both teams, but especially for Iowa State's defense.
I'm going to hit you something quickly here. We talked about making the plays to win the game. Iowa State has outgained Iowa, they've outrushed them, and they've thrown for more yards. But the turnovers, mistakes.
Yeah,
that's the difference. But now the defense trying to be the stopgap on 3rd and 9. Crowd trying to help him. Petras feeling the heat. And down he goes. Who was Enrique with a huge sack.
Again, Petrus taking a sack on third down. They're in obvious field goal range, and now they're going to have to push them back again with the punter. But good job, good effort, really good coverage downfield that time. Eventually, Peterson's able to get in there, but Spencer Petrus, as good as he's been, actually going to go for a long field goal. As good as he's been, instead of a very manageable field goal, now a 51-yarder.
So now it'll be Shudak trying to reach for a long one from 51 yards out. It is on the way, and it is good. Excellent technique from the veteran Hawkeye kicker, and now the lead is 2 touchdowns.
Well, remember the first time he came out, it was a high snap, messed up the timing. Here, a perfect snap, great hold, gets down, and then a flawless execution, plenty of leg. And the Hawkeyes come up with 3 points. You mentioned the turnovers. 3 turnovers today for Iowa State, 20 points from Iowa. So it's not just that they've turned it over, it's the fact that we've seen the Hawkeyes turn those turnovers into production.
Well, the guy who just knocked through that field goal, his dad Jeff was a place kicker here at Iowa State. Now he's making some hay on his dad's old stomping grounds, Holly.
Well, that's right. I was just thinking the only Iowa State fans in the building right now that were happy about that field goal is his dad. Of course, his dad is an Iowa State fan the rest of the year. His name is Jeff. He was a terrific kicker here for the Cyclones. And Caleb is a super senior. He's waited 6 years for the opportunity, and he finally got to do it right here in front of his dad and mom in front of their hometown crowd.
Oh, Holly, it was really, when you get back-to-back turnovers like that, obviously to scoop and score, you have to pay the second one off with some points, or you risk allowing Iowa State to continue to believe. But still a 2-possession game. They made the best of a
I want to correct myself. Those 3 turnovers results of 17 points for Iowa, not the 20, but still able to turn all 3 of those turnovers into points.
Well, it's a lot, and it's bad if you're Iowa State, no matter how you slice it. That snap to Breece Hall. Hall trying to make up for that earlier fumble, and he is running with abandon up across the 40-yard line before Jack Turner gets him on the ground.
Good blocks by Sean Foster, some linemen downfield, but just a tremendous effort by Breece Hall. A little bit more urgency now from Purdy in this Iowa State offense down late in the second half.
All patient, got by a couple of Hawkeyes who were in the backfield. Turner had to stop him again in the secondary.
There's not just patience, but how tough of a runner he is, pulling through some arm tackles and getting positive yards. I'm sure he's frustrated with himself after that last turnover where Iowa scooped it and put it into the end zone after that fumble.
If they can answer the defensive stand, forcing Iowa to settle for a field goal. We're right back in it here. Only 2-possession game. Now Purdy needs to go to work. A lot of time, feeling the heat. Brock just has to unload it out of bounds.
And this is where the maturity of Brock Purdy is going to have to play for Iowa State. Early in his career in situations like this, just trying to make plays. He had a little bit of that gunslinger mentality. He might force a throw or force the action of trying to make that play. Now he's got to just be patient. Even though you're frustrated, it's hard to make big plays against Iowa, so you've got to pick your spots with 1:52 and down 2 touchdowns.
Zach Van Valkenburg, John Wagner up front. Noah Shannon's made plays. Iowa defensive front, despite losing a couple of starters from a year ago, has been very active and very good, but they can't stop Hall from getting the first down and moving it into Iowa territory. Iowa State had success snapping it quickly at the end of the first half. Now throw it underneath. A very short game for Hall. There to make the stop is Riley Moss.
Iowa's mentality anyway is, we keep talking about how last year they were 8th in the nation and allowing only 21 plays of 20 yards more. Again, their whole build of their defense is to keep the ball in front of them, keep their safeties back. And now, especially with a 14-point lead, it becomes even that much more important for them. Just don't want to give up a cheap one. They want to make Iowa State and Purdy have to drive and eat up clock.
Inside a minute to play in the third quarter. Purdy fires to the outside, and it's intercepted by Matt Hankins. Hankins slips a tackle, and another, still on his feet. Hankins down to the 20-yard line, and it is another Iowa State miscue.
Before everybody looks at Brock Purdy, you got to look at Joe Evans, the defensive end from Iowa, who I think got a hand on that football right at the line of scrimmage. Watch 13 right here. This isn't just Purdy with a poor throw. I think he gets up. He did. He got a hand on the ball. Ball ended up going in a different direction. And give Hankins a lot of credit for being able to have his eyes on the ball, sitting back in zone, sees it. Watch 13. Great job at timing this. Yep, gets up in the air. And how about Hankins? Second time he's been able to find a football, and a deadly mistake from Iowa State.
2 interceptions for Hankins on the day, the 4th turnover for Iowa State. And you know, Kirk, to that point, if that ball's not deflected, he had Kohler out there, potentially for a big gain. And now the Iowa State defense is going to be called on one more time. They'll have to do so when we start the fourth quarter. They need to stop. They need a turnover of their own.
For 4 days in prepping for this game, all we have heard about is the turnover margin from both these coaches being the difference over the last few years, and it's going to be the difference in this game. And right now, Iowa's +4 in the turnovers.
+4 going to the fourth quarter, +14 on the board. That's the end of the third quarter. We'll be back after this message and a word from your local ABC station. Tonight in prime time on ABC, we'll take you to the Big House in Ann Arbor. Harbaugh and the Wolverines against Washington. Saturday Night Football presented by Capital One. 8 o'clock Eastern Time. It's after our game, available streaming live on the ESPN app. The sun is starting to peak down behind the facade here at Jack Trice Stadium, and the Cyclone faithful hoping as we start the fourth quarter that is not the sun setting on their hopes of ending their losing streak against Iowa. But here goes Tyler Goodson, first down inside the 10, first down and goal for the Hawkeyes.
Well, one of their answers to this 3-3-5 stack is put the tight end to the opposite side and work here where they have a free edge. Just stay on your track, stay to the outside, follow that fullback. But look how easily that time Goodson able to get on the perimeter of that Iowa State defense. And look at that block by the big fella.
Monty Potterbaum said, "May I show you to your seat, sir?" He's had a ball game now. Got to carry it once, but
old school fullback, tight end.
Give it to him again. Potterbaum driving down to about the 2.
You know, in film, when they watch this as a team, every time he gets a chance to get his hands on the ball, I bet the whole room goes crazy. I mean, he's out there as a selfless blocker, just out there. If you accidentally hand him the ball, it's just a bonus for him. Got a neck roll on. I didn't even know they still made neck rolls in 2021, but this guy's got a neck roll.
Hey, man, this dude in high school, he was all-state wrestling, baseball, track and field, foot.
Got to be right.
Oh, of course, the state of Iowa. You know he is. What did Dan Gable do with that guy? Second and goal. Iowa State defense still fighting for everything they have. Zach Peterson, Isaiah Lee stopping Goodson. Third down and goal. Cyclones desperately need not only a stop, but something big to happen. And they force a mistake of their own and keep Iowa from getting anything here.
Charlie Jones been making a lot of plays. There he is in motion.
Petrus lobbing out of the reach of Sam Laporta. He
takes a shot to Laporta. Remember, he said Jones right here. He just kind of goes here and just sits. I think Petras was thinking, if he throws that to the outside shoulder, he's got a touchdown. But instead, he tries to force it into the corner. Also had Goodson out in the flat. It's a tough throw.
Yeah. But at least from Petras' perspective, he allowed them to end the drive with a kick attempt. 22 yards, and Iowa tacks on 3 more, and now the lead is 17, and the situation dire for the Clones. Tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Eastern Time, NFL Countdown on ESPN. They'll sit down with Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes before Kansas City hosts the Browns. And then on Monday night, the 52nd season of Monday Night Football comes from Vegas. Raiders and Ravens, 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 Pacific on ESPN and ABC. Both shows streaming live on the ESPN app and on ESPN2. Peyton and Eli have their coverage. Monday Night Football.
Oh, yeah, looking forward to that. Brian Ferentz going over things there, the offensive coordinator with Spencer Petras. No, that quarter, the third quarter, Iowa gained -6 yards and outscored Iowa State 10-0 because of those turnovers. It's hard to do now.
Yeah.
-6 and 10-0.
And they've got 27 points, 158 total yards, yet because of the turnovers in the defense.
Yeah, Hankins has been big today with a couple interceptions. That was early in the game. This fumble was huge. Jacobs knocks it loose. Jack Campbell, his partner, middle linebacker, picks it up. Another linebacker, Seth Benson, with an interception off the tip pass by Joe Evans. There's that man, Matt Hankins, another interception, his second of the game. Remember, last week it was Riley Moss with 2 for pick sixes. And today it's been Hankins with 2 interceptions, the other corner.
The new quarterback in the game for Iowa State. They have turned to redshirt freshman Hunter Deckers, a left-hander from Howard, Iowa. Multi-sport athlete. Let's see if he can find a little something. Brees Hall breaks 1 tackle, gets back to the line of scrimmage. Holly, what do you have on Brock Purdy?
Well, guys, this has been brewing for the last couple of series. We saw Decker start warming up here on the sideline, and the only thing I can see that's wrong with Brock Purdy is they have massaged out his right leg and right calf. He has been limping a little bit, some kind of ointment, but I don't know if it's the turnovers or if he's not 100%, but a new quarterback is a little shocking. Brock Purdy started every game of the last 4 seasons for him except for save 3.
And there were a couple of occasions as Deckers completes one last year where Matt Campbell did stay with him with some difficult starts, but desperate times, desperate measures.
Well, I think at this point at 27-10, you know, with the turnovers, you just kind of pull him to the side and just let him catch his breath and give the next guy a chance in Deckers. I don't think it's necessarily a feeling of long-term how they feel about him. This is just a feel for right now in this game where things just can't seem to go the right way for the Cyclones.
You wonder how much of this is just pressing to try to win this game. Deckers is deflected, and it's all but everything you expected to see. One of those white jerseys and black hats grab that thing and start running the other way, the way the second half is gone.
Tell you, man, I mean, we could say whatever we want about Deckers coming in or Purdy. I'm just in awe of what I'm watching right now from Iowa. I mean, they came into Ames, Iowa to play a good team in a rivalry game on the road. And Kirk Ferentz always has a team that runs his system on both sides. Once in a while, they've got some veterans at some key spots. This is that team. The linebackers, the corners, the safeties. This is just a solid defense. They're not going to beat themselves. Very disciplined. Not just today. It's who they're going to be all year.
Jones scoops it up on the bounce. Moss gives him a little screen, a little rear end screen to get him around the corner. But there's a flag that's been thrown.
Kind of like that screen. It could have been on that, right?
Riley Moss looked like he was boxing out.
He did.
Do what John O'Neill's got
During the
for us.
return, number 37 on Iowa's helmet came off. He must leave the game for 1 play. Timeout.
That's the way it's been for Iowa so far today. Even the flags don't seem that bad. Hawkeyes up by 17. That Cy Young Trophy has just taken up residence campus at Iowa. And unless Iowa State mounts a furious rally here, it is going to return to Iowa City. As we take a look at this week's college football rankings brought to you by Allstate. Here's a look at the AP poll. This is the only top 10 game in college football on this Saturday. You say Iowa's almost underrated. Right?
I came in here thinking, okay, what they did against a good Indiana team, if they're able to come into Ames and win here, who has a better resume after a couple weeks and how they've looked doing it? I mean, they're a top, again, based on production right now, I think they're a top 4, top 5 team in the AP if everybody's looking at everything based on what teams have done right now.
This is the 4th time in Iowa history that they've opened the season with consecutive ranked opponents. Back in 1960, they won those first 2 games. The only other time they've done that, they are now 11 minutes and change away from doing it again after beating Indiana.
At Maryland, tricky. Penn State, at Wisconsin's always a tough game. Even at Northwestern, I mean, anytime you go on the road, it's never easy. But they've got a schedule where they'll be favored in a lot of those games. And the system that they run, they're just a tough matchup.
Do they remind you of the 2015 Iowa team that made it to the Big Ten championship game undefeated, ended up losing to Michigan State, went on to the Rose Bowl against Stanford?
Yeah, they got Christian McCaffrey and got the best of them that day. But it does. Like I said, Kirk Ferentz is such an outstanding coach. 23 years. Next year, you already know what you can picture with Iowa, right? I mean, they're going to be the same kind of team. But again, every so often, they've got some difference makers on defense. And I think today, watching Charlie Jones emerge to go along with their running game, there's a lot of pieces here to like.
This is going deep. Iowa will go 3 and out. Kirk Ferentz is the dean of college football coaches in his 23rd season, his most wins in school history. 4 times he's been Big Ten Coach of the Year, and I would say that he's certainly the Big Ten Coach of September, at least so far. Maybe National Coach of the Year in the first 2 weeks anyway. Twice he's won Big Ten championship. They haven't been able to do that since 2004.
Talked about with us this week growing up in Pittsburgh and, you know, being a Steelers fan, and you know, he had his time in the NFL with the Cleveland Browns. He runs his program like a Pittsburgh Steelers team. You know, when you think of the Steelers year in and year out, same kind of characteristic come to mind as this Iowa team year in and year out.
Well, Iowa's only had 2 coaches since 1979, Hayden Fry and now Kirk Ferentz. How about this staff, 1983 at Iowa?
Kirk Ferentz, Bill Snyder went on to Kansas State. Barry Alvarez, are you kidding me? Dan McCarney, Bobby Stoops, a young Bob Stoops, probably fresh off the playing field himself. It's been incredible.
Well, McCarney was the head coach here at Iowa State for a while.
Look at Albie there.
And we're heaping praise on Ferentz, and rightfully so, but as we've talked about what Matt Campbell has done at Iowa State, and there's not the longevity yet, and I don't think they were quite as in such a poor situation as Kansas State, but it reminded me to some degree of what Bill Snyder was able to turn around at Kansas State. Early stages, Coach Snyder did that a really, really long time at Kansas State, but it has been impressive what Iowa State has done, but they just haven't played their best ball. That made clutch plays today or in recent years against the Hawkeyes.
Yeah, and they're coming off their best season in school history. You know, in the middle of a global pandemic and just a strange year. They ended up going to the Fiesta Bowl, beating Oregon 34-17, and almost all those players are back from last year. So expectations were high. How they handle this setback will be big. They can still have a great year, obviously.
That's a great point. This is something they had really pointed to, because it had been pointed out, and understandably so, the struggles in this series. And barring a major turnaround, which really needs to start right now and soon with some urgency, they're going to have to bear that albatross for another year.
Setting up a 3rd and long here. Again, if you're an Iowa fan, you know about your back 7 with the linebackers and defensive backs, but this defensive line, I think, has really come of age and showing not just Van Valkenburg, but others like Joe Evans and John Wagner, Noah Shannon.
Just nowhere to go after Jairo Brock caught it. Riley Moss right on the spot for fourth down is here.
Yeah, again, eyes on the football, play zone. When you have eyes on the ball, your head isn't turned chasing a receiver in man-to-man. It's kind of a new trend we're starting to see all over the country. Instead of playing man against these teams that are going to spread you out, play more zone. Let those defensive backs see the quarterback, break on the ball, and then run to the ball and leverage the football. And that's exactly what Iowa's done.
Cameron Shook is going to punt this one away for the Cyclones as we hit the 8.5-minute mark to play here in Ames. Jones getting everybody away from it, and we'll touch it and down it right about the 33-yard line. The Cy Hawk looks like old Herky's going to put that thing in a hammerlock again. Very good showing from the Buffs in that one, though, guys. But now Haynes King hurt in that game for Texas A&M. See how it changes their offense. Calzada with a bigger arm, but not necessarily as mobile as Haynes King. What about the big fella in the middle, Tyler Linderbaum, today?
Oh, he has had a great game. You can see him pushing people around early. He just can do a lot of different aspects. I mean, as a leader up front, he gets everything set. He and Spencer Petras as far as protection. But Iowa always has great offensive line every single year. And I was blown away with Brian Ferentz, the offensive coordinator and line coach this week, tight end coach. He said, you know, we've had some great ones come through here. Not going to hesitate. This guy's as good as any of them. And I said, man, that's a bold statement with some of the guys you've had. He said, it's the truth.
Yeah, he didn't back down from it from a second, Holly.
Well, that's right. One of the reasons he's the best they've ever seen is because he's so athletic. This is a kid that was a pitcher in baseball, and he was a wrestler in high school as well. Look at this. This is him taking down state champion Tristan Wirfs. I know Tristan's out there. He played for the Bucks Thursday night. He's going to be so irritated that we showed him getting pinned right here. Tristan did come back to win state. We are aware of that, Tristan. But I just wanted to show you how athletic this young man is. He was actually playing summer baseball for his high school team and staying in the dorms doing preseason workouts his freshman year. He is such an athlete, and it shows.
And Holly, just so Tristan doesn't give you a call, I believe that Tyler admitted that Wirfs got him the first 7 times, I believe, that they squared off.
Prior to the foul, charge timeout, Iowa. 30-second timeout.
So Iowa uses the second timeout here in the second half.
You know, how often do you see that combination? A great high school wrestler gets in the middle of the trenches, whether it's defensive line or offensive line, where it's all about leverage. It's all about winning those one-on-one battles, and the athletic ability that Holly mentioned as a baseball player. I'm always impressed with offensive linemen who are athletes in high school, and they play multi-sports. They go on to have great college careers. You look at the NFL offensive linemen, you look at their careers and what they did when they were younger, and it's always this kind of guy. You know, they look at him hitting the high fastball there, looking like a right-handed Babe Ruth wearing number 3.
Also, his body type looks like Pete Incaviglia. Remember? Big fella there. The one thing we didn't see, and I know you guys, I'm sure, saw the article that our good friend Ivan Maisel wrote on Linderbaum and talked about him heaving a bale of hay over a 14-foot pole in a contest.
Now, that's saying something. I can get it to 10 feet. I can't get it up to 14.
Now, that's farm strong.
You said you used to bale hay, didn't you?
Well, yeah, it was a limited engagement. We'll put it that way. I was hired as an extra for a little while.
I thought you were out there.
Well, it was, but I mean
on your own, just not hired.
No. They were like, they were like, hey, you high school players, come over here and we'll give you some money to throw this hay on this thing all day.
There you go.
Linderbaum has been throwing cyclones around today, and Iowa 6.5 away from getting another win.
Kevin Nagandi back in studio, just over 30 minutes away. Michigan hosting Washington prime time. Wolverines last weekend led by Cade McNamara. The offense opening up the playbook against Western Michigan, expecting a big night at the Big House. RD and Herbie, back to you.
Kevin, Michigan's going to have to compensate for the loss of Ronnie Bell, who had a big day. It was really hated to see him get hurt. But Michigan, Washington trying to bounce back from that loss against Montana. Iowa coming back out. 4th and 4 in punt formation.
Delay of game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 4th down.
Let's see if they can maybe swipe that first down. Here's Kirk Ferentz. Just wanted to. We had a little typo in the graphic earlier. 169 and 106. Most wins in school history. Kirk has been just a remarkable show of consistency. You know, one of the stats, you know, every tight end at Iowa, every senior tight end at Iowa has been drafted or signed by an NFL team at the end of their career. Every one of them.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Amazing.
Laporta and Lachey look like they're next in line. Dallas
There was
Clark
one of them, the Dallas
had a
Clark.
heck of a run.
I loved that Iowa team with Dallas Clark.
Yeah.
And there with Bob
Thanks.
Sanders on defense.
Yeah, that was a great team.
Yeah.
And here's what you're talking about. Marv Cook going way back when he used to stand up. I was teasing Kirk Ferentz about the hands on the hips. Dallas Clark, of course, with the Colts. Scott Chandler, George Kittle tearing up the NFL. Hawkinson, Noah Fant was an incredible athlete. Playing with the Broncos.
Kirk told us this week, asking about how you find the tight ends, how you recruit them, how you develop them. He said, well, I didn't have much choice. His wife Mary says, you don't throw the tight end enough.
But, you know, they're not always getting the 5-star tight end prospect. Like
Right.
Michael Mayer that went to Notre Dame. They find guys that play great basketball, and they turn them into tight ends. That's what's been amazing is a lot of the guys you just saw, if you went back and watched them play high school football, a lot of them were quarterbacks or a defensive end that they're forecasting what they could be if they get into the weight room and work and learn how to become a tight end. Like Luke Lachey, he was a wide receiver. He was a quarterback. He was a corner. He just happens to be 6'6", so that's a perfect prospect for them as a tight end. Great athlete.
Matt Campbell getting some younger players some action. Hunter Decker's in there and fires a strike.
We got a big one coming up after us with Michigan and Washington. And everybody's just assuming Washington is not very good because of a loss to Montana. Montana's not a bad FCS team. Washington self-destructed with 3 turnovers in that game. Their quarterback, Dylan Morris, had 3 interceptions. What gets lost in that game is how great Washington's defense played in that game. And that's Jimmy Lake. He's the head coach, former defensive coordinator. He will bring a team with a chip on their shoulder. I don't know if they're going to win the game, but it will be a team that will be ready to play. Remember, Pac-12, UCLA beat LSU. Oregon traveled across the country and went to Columbus, beat Ohio State. Now you've got Washington playing in the big house tonight.
I think, obviously, the turnover is the most disappointing thing for Washington. The flag comes in at that play last week. But the other was really high on their offensive line, and it didn't get a lot done against Montana up front. So that'll, you know, they were challenged this week. Can they do it against Michigan coming up 8 o'clock Eastern time on ABC? Texas and Arkansas are underway.
Yeah, Texas and Arkansas. Arkansas's up 3-0. They're early in the second quarter. It's a game you're going to find out. Texas is going to have to earn that. You go on the road against Arkansas.
Defense,
physical football team.
From the previous spot. Automatic first down.
I think Bumper Poole, who had like 14 tackles last week, I think he's out for the first half.
That's right.
For targeting. He was back in the second half. And so Barry Odom, defensive coordinator at Arkansas, they forced a lot of turnovers.
He's got 20 starters back also from the team from last year. And their head coach, Sam Pittman, is a physical coach, former offensive line coach. And it's just his style is being, we're going to be physical on both sides of the ball. And when you get them at home, it's a tough out.
So a timeout with just over 5 minutes to play here in Jack Trice Stadium. Big 12 now on ESPN+. That's a must-have. Big 12 fans here at tonight's football games. You got Baylor, Dave Aranda hosting Texas Southern, Kansas State hosting Southern Illinois, and Texas Tech against Stephen F. Austin. All three not underway at 7 o'clock Eastern time. You need to sign up today, ESPNplus.com/Big 12 now. So this is a little bit of a shot to the Big 12, who are adding new teams. The news breaking in the last couple of days are actually being confirmed in the last couple of days that BYU, Cincinnati, Houston, and UCF will come into the Big 12. Eventually, of course, Texas and Oklahoma leaving. And all of that is a little bit fluid in terms of when Teams are coming and going. Presidents and chancellors of the 8 remaining Big 12 members approved all of this unanimously on Friday. Knowing BYU is coming in, and they're really excited about it because they think it puts them on a more level recruiting footing with Utah, who they play tonight. And the Texas-Oklahoma piece will be resolved, I'm sure, in coming years.
Interesting time in college football with the power conferences and the alliance of the Big 12 or the ACC and the Big 10 and the Pac-12, and the future of all these conferences with realignment and expansion. Wonder where the sport will be. It's going to be somewhere in 5 years. I don't think anybody really knows.
5-yard penalty, still second down.
What the real goal of that alliance is remains to be seen, because what was publicly announced is absolutely nothing new. There's nothing that they couldn't have done today, tomorrow, yesterday, or 4 years ago in terms of scheduling, working together. But there are other things at work as it turns to the playoff, media rights deals, all of those things that the inner workings of college football keep it interesting for us, my friend. And lefty Hunter Deckers he almost had the third one of the day for Matt Hankins. There is a flag across the way.
Offside. Defense number 94. 5-yard penalty. Repeat second down.
Well, I know Matt wanted to hang on to that, but if he had to give back his third interception of the day because the defensive lineman jumped into the neutral zone. Had some huge plays today. Last week against Indiana, it was his fellow corner Riley Moss. Today it's been Hankins. Really, the whole Iowa defense has just been outstanding. Tariq Milton reaching up and making that grab as we take a look at what Hankins, the senior from Louisville, Texas, has done.
Yeah, it was last week the corner Riley Moss, and today it has been Hankins. That was a pick early, and then this one he almost takes back for a touchdown, but 2 big interceptions. Part of a total of 4 turnovers that they've been able to come up with to turn into 20 points.
There's Hunter Deckers, who replaced Brock Purdy, and he gets it out of the backfield and gets it to Eli Sanders, a freshman from Oceanside, California.
Iowa State continuing to fight. Good effort that time. Lowers the shoulder there by Eli Sanders, the true freshman. What you want to see, just keep competing. Week 2 of the season, disappointing loss, down 17.
This is a program with stability under Matt Campbell as Deckers throws for the end zone, and it's grabbed by Milton. Under 3.5 to go, and the Cyclones put another touchdown up.
How about Deckers? Plenty of time, but works himself all the way from the right. Looks like he was trying to find his big tight end, Kohler, and he's covered. Everything's covered to the right. He comes all the way back. This is his 4th option. He finally finds Milton for that touchdown.
Milton Kirk was banged up a lot last year, but you recall at 19, he averaged over 20 yards a catch. He's a big play threat for the Cyclones. Extra point up and on the way, and it's good. And it is a 10-point game. See if Iowa State can somehow find a way to snag an extra possession here. They do have a couple of timeouts. And they have, even though they have gone to backups, changed quarterback, freshman running back in, some backup receivers have played and caught passes. They've continued to fight here. It speaks well for the character.
Well, again, we kind of had this with Ole Miss playing Louisville, and Louisville, they were down big. It's just early in the year. Anytime you're early in the year, you have a disappointing loss. You'd love to see as a coach, you're going to go back and watch the film, and you're going to find guys that are taking, we lost, and kind of give up. You don't want to see that. So the fact that Iowa State, you shouldn't be surprised, a Matt Campbell team. That's what you expect them to do. But it's a huge win for Iowa.
Yeah.
Not a lot of offense, but complimentary football from the Hawkeyes today.
So let me ask you this. Iowa took control after those turnovers.
What message do you think it sends from Campbell that he put so many of those young players into this game rather than sticking with the older guys, seeing how they would fight back?
You know, I think it's about giving other guys an opportunity and finding out. A lot of these guys. Oh,
here we go. They've got a real chance. That might be a microcosm of how frustrating this day has been for Iowa State. Once the ball got away from Reganey, Iowa State was there for the take.
They're right there.
Flags out. Ugh, just got past Kohler somehow.
Yeah, Kohler, the big tight end, looked like he had a chance to come up with it. We do have a flag anyway. Let's see what this is about.
There is no foul for a kicking team player going out of bounds. He was forced out of bounds and came back into the field of play. First down.
Kohler looked like he was pushed out of bounds at the bottom of your screen. A couple of Hawkeyes go at him. 88 gets pushed out of bounds, but then he actually went toward right there. He goes towards the ball, and the ball goes by him. If he would have just kind of come in there a little bit more under control. Look at that. It's exactly the bounce that you want.
And with that ball trickling out of bounds, so perhaps the last little whisper of hope that Iowa State had might have rolled away with it.
Well, to your point, though, I think when you're going through a game, it's almost like a hockey game where the goalie's having just one of those games. He's a great player, maybe an all-star, but he just not having it in a playoff game. You see him get taken out. You put in the backup to see what he can do to finish up the game. That's kind of what it felt like to me watching Brock Purdy. It was just one of those days. It wasn't all on him. Some of them were through receivers' hands. Some of them were off a tip pass. It was more than anything to just try to change up the mojo. You know, and Deckers actually leads them down to a touchdown drive, 71 yards, goes 5 for 5.
And Goodson picks his way down to about the 44 as the clock winds toward 2.5 minutes play. Third down coming up here for Iowa.
Just continue to go back to the turnovers, just being the difference in this series over the years and being the difference again today. Both coaching staffs knew that field position, turnovers, and special teams ultimately would be a big factor in the game. And you think about the job that Iowa's done today, not just with the 4 turnovers and the 20 points off of that, but Torrey Taylor, the punter, pinning Iowa State off and inside their own 10-yard line. I think he did it 4 or 5 different times today. That's really the difference in the game, is the special teams and turnovers.
Ivory Kelly Martin carries it and is stopped for maybe a loss of 1.
I was going to say Iowa has 106 passing yards and 68 rushing yards. So, again, I think they called the game based on the way the game flow and the way their own defense is playing.
Complimentary football. It's been a hallmark of Kirk Ferentz's team. Let's go back to the studio for a second with Kevin Negandhi.
RD coming your way, reminding our audience, prime time at the Big House. Hassan Haskins, the Thunder. Blake Corum, the Lightning. Big game last week against Western Michigan. We'll see the running attack of Michigan against Washington less than 20 minutes away.
All right, Kevin, we're looking forward to it.
And we got Arkansas and Texas. Arkansas up 10-0. 11 minutes to go in the second quarter. Sark and Texas in for a battle tonight against the Hogs.
When I think of that series, it's a classic game in 1969 where Richard Nixon went and awarded the national championship. For some reason, for all the great games they had, my mind races. In a 2000 Cotton Bowl, Arkansas really put it on Texas. Houston Nutt ran over after he was celebrating. He did the horns down thing, and Texas people got upset with him. And Houston sort of exemplified what Arkansas fans thought. They really don't like Texas. From all those days, he said just sort of the emotion bubbled up and bubbled out. And when you look to the future of Arkansas and Texas being conference rivals again, I would imagine they saw quite a bit of that. In their ride in Fayetteville today, you think?
Without a doubt.
Historically, though, I think the Horns are 14-3. in that stadium over the years, but a 10-point deficit nearly going to Sam Pittman's team, who, by the way, is really given an infusion of energy to the Razorback football program. Hunter Decker's getting a little work here, too, through a touchdown pass. Big, strong, good-looking guy. Ball comes out of the hand, nice. See if he's got a little magic in the last 100 seconds. There's another completion. A good open field tackle by Seth Benson on the freshman Eli Sanders. So there's still a lot ahead for Iowa State. They can still be a threat in the Big 12. They've certainly proven that they can play with Oklahoma over the years, giving the Sooners all kinds of trouble, but this is going to be a disappointing one. They'll have to try to find a way to get over quickly. A couple road trips coming up to UNLV and Baylor in the next couple of weeks. Plenty of time to improve. Those games against Texas and Oklahoma will come up until late in the season. Deckers trying to get a big chunk of yardage. Terry Roberts was on the coverage against Joe Skates.
Terry Roberts in great position. You know, he's just been inserted into the game. Now Iowa is rotating a number of defensive backs. Not that they're putting backups in, they're just facing a lot of receivers, so they're getting a few more corners in the game with Hankins and Moss and Roberts all in.
Now, Roberts has played a lot of special teams for Kirk Ferentz's group over the years. Deckers fires, and 54 seconds left. Will be down to a 4th and 5. Another win for Kirk Ferentz. 170th victory. Less than a minute in his terrific Iowa career, and perhaps putting the Hawkeyes in position as a legitimate challenger in the Big Ten. Certainly Ohio State still the gold standard despite stumbling against Oregon today. Deckers gets rid of it, and Iowa State will have a few more plays, picking up first down if, depending on what we have on the flag, back at the 30-yard line. Might have seen Van Valkenburg with.
Personal foul, roughing the passer. Defense, number 97. That 15-yard penalty will be added on to the end of the run. First down.
Well, so that was Zach Van Valkenburg. Here's the penalty.
Yeah, it hits him late. Good job of escaping that pressure. You can see how late the hit is, but Knoll does a good job. He's got good speed as a true freshman, but Deckers, that's 4th and 5, keeps his cool, still battling, looks up at the ref like, can you get 15 more on the back end of that?
Oh, hey, you never know. He's batted down line of scrimmage, score quickly. Here's Joe Evans from here in Ames. They tell today for that Iowa defense.
He's doing his pass rush on every.
Deckers underneath. Sanders again, turns it toward the Darker and the out of bounds.
Why not stick with the older guy? I think you put these guys in a take all about. Interesting call here, Matt. Even on a 1st and 10, he's thinking of trying to go for an onside kick with 35 seconds left. Call.
But it's fresh. You at least know what you want. Are you on board? Do you like this strategy? Have you seen programs start to use it? Are you in agreement with it?
I think you have to. Otherwise, if you don't, you're just playing, letting the clock run down, and at least give yourself a chance here. But you got to hit the kick.
And it's been that kind of day. Last-ditch effort goes awry, as so many issues have for the Cyclones today. Andrew Mevis never had a chance. And now Iowa will be able to run out the clock.
Now Matt Campbell got to go into this locker room after so much buildup and anticipation and hope of knocking off Iowa. First time he would have been able to do that since he's been the head coach. Another disappointment. Now he's got to go talk to him and have another message about, hey guys, disappointing, frustrating, 24 hours, put it behind us. Whether we win or we lose, we move on to our next opponent. Still have the entire Big 12 in front of us, but he's got to get a veteran team back up and not lose them after a a game like this, and I think he will.
I don't think there's much doubt about that. Kirk Ferentz has controlled this series of late, and his club will capture the rivalry game and the Cy-Hawk Trophy once again. 10th-ranked Iowa beating 9th-ranked Iowa State 27-17 for their 6th straight win in the series. Our game this afternoon, produced by Bill Bonnell, directed by Derek Mobley. Our entire ESPN ABC crew, absolutely sensational. For Kirk Herbstreit and Holly Rowe, I'm Reese Davis, saying so long from Ames, Iowa. We're closing in on Washington and Michigan from the Big House tonight. So long, everybody.